All right. Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to another lawn care live stream. So that's a very, very special night. We were able to get someone that started out as a viewer, but someone's also been a great resource for the channel as far as helping out with asking questions and just being someone that's really consistent and part of the stream, Dmer. So tonight's going to be fun because you guys are going to have a cool season expert who works in the turfgrass industry to take your questions. As well as tonight, remember, we are also doing the giveaway of the hats. So the winners will find out tonight. Who won. We'll be doing that the same way we normally do, randomly. And yeah, it should be a great time. So get those questions queued up. I'm going to bring Devin in, and we'll get started. It should be a great time. All right. So Devin, what's going on, man? Hopefully all is going well. How's your Friday?
Yep, going good. How about you?
Good, man. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so we got a couple people in the chat. We got Gunny, Grasshopper, Timothy. We got some other questions here. Gunny has for his first question. We can start with him. He says, hey, Ron, I moved to Georgia over 1 year ago doing this lawn thing. I must say the lawn turned out great with your advice. Got my first soil test. Can you help me interpret? Gunny, yes. So send me a copy of it. Just email it to me, ron@golfcourselawn.com right here. Just send me an email with it. I'll look over it and I will get you some feedback as far as what I think you should do as far as products or anything at all. Might not need anything done. But Devin, so tell us about yourself, man, a little bit. So, how did you get into the turfgrass industry? What do you do in the turfgrass industry? All that fun jazz. Lay it on us.
So I got into the turfgrass industry. It's kind of a funny story. Usually everyone who gets involved in it always has a quirky, weird story about someone they knew and how they got into it. So my sister played youth soccer, and her coach was a golf course superintendent. So I was going to her games when I was 6, 7, all through my youth. And when I turned 14, he was like, hey, when you turn 15 next summer, why don't you come out and work for me at the golf course? So I was like, yeah, great. So that was May of 2007, would have been my first year ever working on a golf course. Worked there all through high school, went to Colorado State, was originally not really sure what I was going to do, maybe engineering. And I think he kind of knew that. And he was like, hey, you can actually go to school for turfgrass management. So I was like, oh, cool. So went to CSU, changed my major, got my degree in environmental horticulture, turfgrass management, did 2 internships at that course through college. And then when I graduated, I moved to Long Island and worked at a course out there, which was pretty cool, and had a little stint there. And then came back here in 2015, and I've been at my club here in Colorado Springs since then.
Very nice. Yeah. So you've been in the industry, what, 15 years?
15 years. Yeah.
15 years. Wow. That's pretty awesome, man. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Early start and stuck with it. And yeah. And here you are working on an amazing course. So if you guys saw the thumbnail for the live stream tonight, that is actually a screenshot from the course that Devin works on. I think is it the Flying Club at the Club at the Flying Horse?
The Club at Flying Horse Club and Resort.
Okay. Yeah. Very, very nice. I'll show you guys some pictures here later on. We're going to show you some pictures of Devin's lawn. So yeah, very, very, very cool stuff. So Devin, yeah, we got Alex B saying, he's happy that you're in here. Looking forward to the collabs. So you guys, you need to, bring the cool season questions. Devin's taking some time out of his evening to come do that. So bring it. Let's hear it. We got Timothy Wolf saying happy Friday. What's going on? How's it going, Timothy? And this is an interesting one. You might be help out with this one a bit, Devin. So. Yeah. It says, Kelby says, did a soil test and calcium came back over 36,000. I have to see the results to actually know what that actually relates to. But he says, thinking about aerating and applying sulfur. Any other ideas? Would you wait till the spring even though I'm treating soil?
Where are you located, I guess would be my next question. What kind of grass type do you have? Usually if I'll apply calcium twice a year, spring and fall, and I'll always time that with my aeration just to get that calcium down in the holes. It just helps with loosening the soil profile, kind of fracturing those chemical bonds in the soil. So I guess I would time it whenever you're going to do your aeration just to get that down into the soil and give it a good heavy watering.
Cool. Yeah.
So I guess it just kind of depends where you're at and when you're planning on doing your aeration.
I think I want to say if Kelby's in Texas. I think in Texas, maybe. They'll chime in and correct me here if I'm wrong, but I think Texas, if so. So in that case, would it be like a spring thing, or like during the growing season, like when you're about to do your aeration? You're thinking?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Cool, very cool. We got Daryl Tunstall. We got Patrick, who is from Texas, saying evening everyone. What's going on, Patrick? and Kelby's in the house. Daryl's in the house. So this is a good one for you, Alex. Alex, because there's all our Devin. Alex has a question about Haida husk and going into winter and other winter treatments. So he says lots of differing opinions with cool season grass winterization. Where does Devin stand on late autumn fert applications? Which type does he use for that? And ideal how to cut going into winter. What say
So
you?
it was funny. We were talking about this right before we came online, and I think a lot of you guys will be surprised how simplistic we actually make this. So I keep my yard at an inch and a half, 2 inches. I don't really ever change it, and I'll carry that from spring all the way to November. And for my winterization, I'll pound the fert. I'll use a 4600 urea, probably quarter of a pound every other week until that grass starts slowing down. So if you go out and mow and you're not getting any clippings, don't apply anything. But up to that point, you can just keep going on with your regular fertilization program, and you can pour it on a little heavier in that fall months because disease window is a little less and there's not as much other factors you'd have to worry about. But I just keep going with your regular fertilization program until your grass really starts slowing down, and you can
Okay.
pour on a little more until it really slows down a lot. And then I wouldn't do anything because at that point you're just wasting product. Save it for the next year.
Gotcha. So really, it's not really a time-based thing, or like it's October, like, time to stop fertilizing. It's more so when the grass slows down on its growth. That's when you start backing things off.
Yep, exactly. And I was just having a conversation with our director of agronomy who oversees both courses. We've got a pallet left over of a 1624 organic product, and we were going to throw it out now, but I was like, I'm going to wait till the spring. Throw it out now, the grass isn't really going to take it up, so we'll wait until it kind of starts waking back up and it's actually there and hasn't flushed away, and you've lost what you think you're putting down is not all there.
I
So I
gotcha.
would wait. So yeah.
Cool. Cool. Great stuff. See Cedric G saying humic max and all the soil treatments. It's always a good option. Cedric. And then Kelby says, use Yard Mastery Starter Flagship all year, and my phosphorus is really low, while my nitrogen and potassium are good. So weird. Um, Hard to say, man. I mean, the soil, not all soil, soils can respond differently depending on depending on your makeup and the fert. I mean, it's hard to say exactly why. So I forget that this isn't. I think the Yard Master is a 2406. I think. I
Yep.
think.
I would say, Kelby, if you can find like a turf supply company, if they have a monoammonium phosphate fertilizer, it's like 1152O have recommendations. So it's a pretty low. There's no potassium and the nitrogen's so minimum. It really doesn't matter if that high rate of phosphorus. So whatever your soil tests come back, I would kind of look for something like that.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome stuff. All right. Yeah. So Cedric, if your question was truncated, just go ahead and ask it again, and we'll get down to it for sure. Dalton's like, hey Ron, and to say Lois is saying happy Friday. Clayton saying happy Friday, and then Daryl, he looks like he's happy to have you in the live stream. So okay, so talking about you for a minute, Devin. So so as far as your lawn, tell us about your personal lawn. Like what kind of grass are you rolling with? Like I'll bring up some pictures here, but like what's your plan for how you take care of that's your course looks like, but
Yep.
this
Yep.
is the
Yep, that's the backyard. The backyard's 100% Kentucky bluegrass. There's no other varieties in there, and I'll overseed that. I've been overseeing that for the past 3 years with about a pound and a half of bluegrass each fall.
very
And
nice.
then yep, and then the front yard's it's a mutt mix. It's got a little bit of everything from when I moved into this house. There's a little bit of tall fescue, a little bit of ryegrass, a little bit of brewgrass, but and believe it or
Nice.
not, I do like the front yard more than the back. It just seems to have a little bit more. And I don't know if you recall, I was talking to you about over, overseeing the back with rye, and it's
Mm-hmm.
been something I've been going back and forth about if I want to actually mix it up and turn it into a mutt. But I
Into a
think,
mutt lawn.
yeah,
It could be. I mean, it seems like cool season grass gets away with that better than warm
yeah,
season. Like if you mix even like Bermuda types, depending on the Bermudas you mix, they can look pretty different. But it seems like rye and KBG can look pretty good together. Like most lawns that I
yeah.
see them, it looks pretty decent. So
Yeah,
just depends.
ryegrass just stripes so nice. Like interesting, our north course is besides their bent grass greens, they're wall to wall ryegrass, and our course
It's
besides the
gorgeous.
greens, everything's a Kentucky bluegrass. And then this past year, we just started overseeding and interseeding ryegrass into a few approaches, and we're going to do the driving range tees here in a couple weeks and bury those in sand before winter really gets
Really
a
hits.
stranglehold on us. Yeah. So
Wow. Very, very cool. So I guess as far as like working on a golf course, like not maybe not now, but like say during the prime growing season, like what is a typical week in your life when at work it consists of?
well, I'd say the best part about it is it's different every week. There's
Okay.
no week that's the same. We'll start during the summer. I'll get there about 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll have a couple meetings with our assistants, and we'll just kind of talk through what we're going to go through for the day, and then we'll go out and have a big staff meeting, and we'll have anywhere from 25 to 30 guys on staff in peak summer months, and that's not counting landscape crew and horticulture crews that take care of the grounds and the flowers and everything. But yeah, we'll go through all that, and we'll be there at 5:30, and we'll mow
Wow.
greens every day. We'll roll greens every day, mow fairways 3 times a week, 4 times a week, depending if we got tournaments going on. Tees twice a week if we can make it happen. Labor is a little funky here and there, so it just depends if we got enough guys to run the mowers. And then there's always spray applications. Like we'll top dress. If we're not spraying greens, we're top dressing greens. So we
Wow.
work at a club where we'll get closed Mondays once a month. So maintenance Mondays. So we'll do a bunch of stuff that we usually can't do with golfers. And then if it's not a closed Monday, we'll have outside events. So the course will be packed for tournaments on Mondays, and then we'll have late starts on Tuesdays. So we'll start at 5:30, and then there won't be any golf till 9. So that
Okay.
gives us a huge jump to do. We'll run machines called like Planet Airs, which just do slits in the greens just to kind of open them up and let them breathe. And we'll, like I said, we'll either be spraying greens, or we'll be top dressing greens, or have fairway sprays going on. So there's always something
Something
different
going
going
on.
on, which is fun. Yep,
So it's not
exactly.
like so the schedule is not fixed. That's very, very cool.
Yep. So it's a fun job. It's a really fun job. I
I
haven't worked
bet.
a day in my life yet.
I bet. Yeah. And are you guys a Toro shop or a John Deere shop?
Toro. Yep. We're
Toro.
all Toro.
All right. Nice. Nice. I like it. There's nothing wrong with John Deere, but I mean,
No.
I am biased towards Toro. All right, so we got other questions here. Actually, we got a couple of super chats. Let me run down here and grab these really quick. We got our first one here from LG.
Super chat.
He says it's November. We're so fortunate to have lawn care live streams. Hit that like button, people, and drink some lemonade, whiskey, or both. Cheers.
Perfect.
I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. That's a good one.
Yep.
LG. And then Goldie Mojica is in the house. Saying with a super chat. Thank you so much,
Super
Goldie.
chat received.
Really appreciate it. Let me take Goldie's question and then we'll jump back up. So she had a question saying in the spring. Let's see. I think your question is in the spring, and if so often, how often do I apply fertilizer? This is like every 4 or 6 weeks. I guess what she's trying to say. So what are your thoughts on like feeding programs? I guess the courses they probably do differently than home lawns, I'm sure.
So yeah, the course is way different. But for what I do at my home lawn is I use I'll do about 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen every other week through sprays.
Mm-hmm.
And then once a month, I'll put 2/10 of a pound on from a organic fertilizer product. It's a product made by Harrell's. So
Okay.
I'll use that. So once a month, 2/10, every other week, 1/10, and I'll kind of just spoon feed it. And I necessarily won't add that much in like the liquid program. I can kind of just eyeball and be like, oh, it needs a little less or a little more, and you can kind of just play with it that way.
Adjust it. So as far as how much nitrogen you're putting into your lawn every month during the main growing season, it sounds like under half a pound. Sounds like
Yep,
thereabouts.
yep.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. So the spoon feeding, you're able to get away with a lot less, which is really cool.
Yep, just give it what it needs, and don't overdo it, because then you can run into problems.
I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we got a question here from Dalvin Larry. He says, trying to raise my pH even more during the fall/winter. After researching, I saw where it takes about 100 pounds of lime to raise by 1 point. Is it possible to over apply lime during the dormant season? What do you think?
Is that on cool or warm season?
That's a good question. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say warm season. I think Dalvin is in Georgia. I think he's in. I think he's got cool. Sorry, warm season. I think he's got warm season grass. I
Warm
believe
season
so.
grass. I mean, I'm no expert, like I was telling you, on warm season grasses as compared to cool season grass, but I know warm season grass is pretty resilient, and you can pretty much throw anything at it and it'll come back. So I wouldn't be surprised if you limed it during the dormant season and it wouldn't hurt anything.
Yeah, it shouldn't. You shouldn't have an issue with that, Dalvin. I mean, on my lawns, if I can actually load this up and show you my results here. So, I know that 40 pounds per thousand, over the course of just a few months, you can see a response in that. So I can actually show you here. We have the technology. So this is my lawn from June of last year, of this year, and then again in October. And if we look at these two samples, what you want to pay attention to is all the way on the right. So this column here is pH, and you'll notice that I was in like the low, like high fives, low sixes in June, and then this is 40 pound per thousand application, and just was that 4 months later. Now we're we moved up quite a bit. It's like I can actually put up the results, but it's like mid sixes, so it's like right in the Goldilocks zone. So you don't need 100 pounds. Again, it depends where you are, obviously, right? But you don't need a metric ton of lime all at one time to make a difference. Like 40, I tend to tell people 20 to 40 pounds per thousand square feet on warm season grass is a good number. You like that, what you just saw there, these results, that's over the course of 3 months, and that's 40 pounds per thousand. That's a pretty good movement as far as my pH goes. So yeah, I mean, get some down. I mean, around here, a lot of people are doing a lot of the lawn care services are doing lime. Like it's like a thing to do in this area. Water it in heavily, and yeah, you should be good to go. But I don't think you need 100 pounds. That sounds like a lot. I'm not sure where you're starting, but that seems like a lot of lime to me. Very cool. So in your, I guess that's a good question. Talking about pH, Devin. So on your course, is that something you guys track and make adjustments for very often, or is it pretty much it is what it is and you just roll with it?
Yep, it is what it is. We're really lucky that we have really good water too, so our pH doesn't really fluctuate in the soils. But yeah, we've never really had to adjust pHs because we run off 2 wells that are drilled on property, so we have really good water, irrigation water. Yep.
Cool. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So we got up here a good question. A question about fungus control, which I'm sure something you guys deal with as far as course fungicides. Big Ron, what are your thoughts on integrating monthly low application rate of fungus control, especially considering that I live in Atlanta, aka Fungus County? I mean, I give you my thoughts, and then I'm sure Devin will chime in and tell me I'm doing it wrong. But it really, if you are managing your application of nitrogen, you're not putting too much nutrient into the lawn, and you're not overwatering it, you shouldn't, again, keyword, you shouldn't have a huge issue that requires you to put fungicide down every single month. That's because there's a lot of negatives to it too, right? As far as like microbial activity is really hard on that. So, golf courses do it because, or may have to do that. But for your home lawn, you really shouldn't need to do that if you're doing everything else right. What do you think, Devin?
No, that was perfectly said there, Ron. For home lawns, if you're following proper agronomic practices, you really shouldn't have to. It's more of IPM. If you go out and you see mycelium or fungus activity, then yeah, obviously go ahead and spray it. But if you're just spraying it just to do preventative sprays, I don't think that's really worthwhile on home lawns unless you know you have something you're spraying for. But yeah, like you said, for golf courses, it's totally different because we'll put down preventative sprays. Because we don't want to run into a problem where we lose turf and all of a sudden you've got grass dying and members are going, whoa, why are we playing on dirt? Because then you're firing up your resume.
Right. I see. So a lot of it is on the course. A lot of it is obviously it serves as a playing surface for all the members. So you guys go above and beyond as far as even if you don't visually see anything, you may make low apps just to prevent there from ever being a problem at all for the most part.
Yeah, so for example, starting May, June, and it even that's weather dependent. It'll depend if we're getting monsoon season or when the rains are coming. Greens will get an app every other week, and that's chlorthalonil, which isn't labeled for homeowner use. And then the next week it'll be a propiconazole chlorthalonil mixed product. And then as far as teas, never really spray anything on teas. And then once a year we'll spray fairways with a thiophenate methyl, which is just 3,3,6-F or just your generic TM 4.5. And that the same thing. It's I'll have conversations with my assistants and they'll be like, oh, we saw this out when we were watering or we were working on this. And it's like, all right, well, we'll see when our next spray is and we'll throw that fungicide in the tank just to do a curative or preventative app.
Nice.
So
Nice.
even at the course, a lot of it's IPM, and except for greens. Greens gets it every other week during the growing season.
Just because you don't want to take a chance on those.
Yeah, exactly. But all the other playing surfaces is just IPM.
Nice. All right, cool. So we got G Free in the house. He's saying some Stripe Action Gang. Papa Mo's low. Blue Jay receive the hat. Great fit. Yeah, we got some more hats we're going to be doing tonight for sure as well. So we got to just definitely hang out for that if you guys are interested in winning a hat, potentially winning a hat. Alex is saying hey to you, Devin. What's up?
What's going on?
And then Mike Brown and VMH, Mr. Illuminating Crabgrass. VMH is an interesting story. So I didn't get the whole background of his lawn, but it started the season where his lawn was primarily crabgrass, and he wanted to save a little bit of Bermuda he had, and through several proper herbicide apps. I think he was pretty primarily he used some Celsius, but he used a lot of quinclorac to knock back the crabgrass, and now his lawn is doing a lot better.
That's a good product.
Very, very cool. All right, cool. So DD's is saying he's just here to gently touch the like button before starting the show. Happy Friday. Thanks so much, DD's. We really do appreciate that. And LG saying, what's up? Okay, so this is a good one. So I have a question on how do you deal with fairy ring in warm season lawns? I mean, probably give me your thoughts on, for cool season, how would you do as far as fairy ring? What are you guys, your thoughts on that?
We actually have fairy ring on a few spots on the golf courses and fairways and approaches. And honestly, it's just one of those diseases that we don't really do anything for. We don't treat for it. We don't spray it. We may go out and punch it and put some seed down on it to kind of encourage new growth in it. But it's just one of those diseases that's really hard to manage and control in cool season grass. So a lot of guys in cool season climates on courses, they don't really do much for it. There is products that you can buy to treat that, but they're pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really not cost efficient for fairways. I mean, if you had fairy rings on your greens, which you wouldn't anyways, because probably you're doing curative programs anyways for that.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if it's bad enough, you go out and punch and put some seed in it if it really bothers you. I mean, we have one on our 18 approach that I see every day. And when I first started, it would drive me insane, but then you just kind of
ignore it,
learn to live with it, because you'll seed it and you can try doing stuff to it and it'll just come back. It gets such a just tight grip in the soil that it's just a really hard disease to manage,
to eliminate. And is it one of those things that you just find that seeding, so if you see it, it's starting to get bad, putting down fresh seed, I mean, is it one of these things where in a week or two the damage should bounce back to begin to recover? Yeah,
exactly. And then eventually when that fungal spores and everything go through its next life cycle, it'll just knock that back again, and then you're back to square one. So
back to square one.
It's just it's a tough disease to manage. And I guess that'd be my best advice for people doing home lawns. You got to roll with the punches. I mean, everyone wants a perfect lawn, and everyone's got the spots. Even on courses, it'll look perfect, but I can list you 15 spots on my course where it just always looks terrible. And
say it ain't so.
You can't get grass to grow, no matter what you try to do, whether it's from cart traffic or just factors that are outside of your control. Yeah. And you can do whatever you want to try to fix it.
So as perfect as this is, you're saying that maybe not this particular scene, but there are certain areas that, despite all your work, is not absolutely pristine, not perfect.
Yeah, there is. And I've got pretty high standards. So, there are spots that I've tried to fight, and it's just grass just refuses to grow there.
So there you go, guys. So remember the video that I did during the season where I showed you guys some of the pain points on my lawn? Like every lawn literally has that. And the thing is, I find is you'll do everything right and it'll line up, and you'll get like a week, 2 weeks where everything is just pristine, looks gorgeous. But then it starts to fall away, or something begins, some kind of issue comes up. So it's a fluid thing. Like
I said, you're always at the mercy of Mother Nature. She's the one who really dictates everything. You can try to control her, but it's never going to work.
Never going to happen, right? Now, as far as like water, so how often do you guys put water on the course? Are there certain areas that take more water, some that take less? How do you guys manage that?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So we'll run water every night during the summer months. So Colorado Springs, even though we're in the mountains, it's considered a semi-arid, dry desert climate.
Okay.
We maybe get 6 inches of rain a year, lucky.
Oh, wow.
If we get that much. So what I like to do is I'll run tees 2 to 3 times a week. Fairways and rough, I'll alternate back and forth through the week. And then greens, I'll run usually on Monday or Tuesday nights and then on Friday nights. And then those usually time out with like applications we'll do if we're doing wetting agents to water things in. And that's the same kind of thing. Like we'll, when we spray like rough and fairways, we use wetting agents wall to wall on everything during the growing months. And we'll time waterings in to get that stuff watered in.
What kind of wetting agents do you guys go with? Is it anything particular, or is it anything that home users can use, or is it for?
I don't think that you can. I mean, you might be able to Google it. So we use stuff from Aquatrols. So on greens, we use a granular wetting agent called Aqueduct, and we'll put that down once a month. And then we usually will time that when we top dress. And we'll put that on following that because we'll always water that top dressing sand down to kind of beat it down into the canopy. And then the fairways and rough, we'll get it once a month. And that's with the product called Sprayable Dispatch. And then the tees, same thing, once a month, Sprayable Dispatch, and then surrounds as well. So we'll spray wetting agents wall to wall during the summer months to kind of help us. And it does help big time with dry spots because that's mostly what I'll do in the afternoon is I'll hand water and punch heads up for dry spots and localized spots.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, there's a product that has been getting a lot of traction for use on home lawns called Hydrotain that works.
I've heard of that. Yep.
Yeah, it works really well.
I haven't tried it personally, but I am curious. I've heard that works pretty good.
Cool. All right, so this is a question at CMath. At CMath, I am sorry I did not intentionally skip your question, but it's a good one here. It's actually one about top dressing. It's a topic that is near and dear to my heart. He says, hey, what's up, Ron? The area I'm working with is mostly clay soil. I want to start leveling my lawn, sand or a mix of sand and some topsoil ratio. What do you suggest? Thank you, buddy. So what's your thoughts, Devin, as far as sand ratios? I'm sure, and of course, you guys probably use straight sand, but like, what's your thoughts?
Yep. At the course, we use straight sand, so it's USGA spec, and we get it from special like sports turf supply company, and they'll bring it in by the truckload, so we'll get it by the tonnage when we need it. But for home lawns, I've never top dressed or done anything like that on my yard. I guess I would just be careful about if you start one path and then decide to change it. So if you go sand and then you decide you want to do something else, I would be careful about doing that because you don't want to create layering in your profile because your roots don't really get too happy when they go from one medium to another. You can kind of get binding in those layers. So I think if you pick one, stick with that if that's what you're going to do throughout your lawn through the years. Cool. But I do think it's very beneficial, especially if you've got a really clay soil profile. I would probably use mostly sand in a clayish profile because you'll still have that clay sitting underneath, but then you can kind of make a nice medium for your roots to grow through.
Nice. Yeah. See, so what I always advocate is like a kind of like what Devin is saying, primarily sand's like a 70-30 blend. So I think if you could go through all the trouble of top dressing, put some organic material in there as well too. So, whether it's a 70% sand and 70% compost or 70%, screen topsoil, that tends to work well. You end up with a layer that overall most lawns tend to do well with. I mean, you can do 100% sand as well. Like we've done that on Alex's lawn, and his lawn does well with it. But I'm not. I mean, I think for golf courses that makes a lot of sense. For home lawns, running 100% sand. Not as much, because you hear about like what they go through and everything they do as far as aerating and all the products they put down, and most people are not going to do that on their home lawn. So I think a blend, but mainly sand, but also consists of some organic material, makes a lot of sense.
Yep, I agree with you, Ron. Just whatever you just don't go from like that 70-30 mix to just 100% topsoil, because then you can run into some problems.
Run into some issues then.
Keep it consistent. That's the key. Just keep it consistent, whatever you decide to do.
So 7, yeah, there you go. So hopefully that helps. CMath, again, apologies for skipping your question. I did not intend to do that. So we got a viewer from Australia. So CM is from Australia. What's going on, CM? So I don't know. I have no idea what time it is in Australia, but it's probably morning, I guess, because it's probably the other side of the world. So probably doing them.
That's pretty cool. I'd like to visit Australia.
Yeah, it's on my list. It's on my list of places to mainly. I want to see. I mean, I don't know if I'm what I'm asking for by saying this, but like it being cold in the summer would be interesting to experience, like it being June and being freezing
Yeah,
out.
it's like
But
completely backwards. I'm a big scuba diver, so I'd like to get down there and get on the Great Barrier Reef. I think that'd be fun.
nice, nice. So that's a good point. So outside of turf, what else do you like to do? What other hobbies, that kind of stuff, do you get into?
Big mountain biker, like to mountain bike. I play hockey. Big football fan, Denver Broncos. And this might pain you to hear, but I'm an Alabama fan, so I'm sure you're a
Man.
Georgia fan.
Oh, we got to end this
So
now, guys. We're going to cut this short.
I am a Bama fan. But hey, you guys look way better than us this year.
It doesn't matter.
You
If
guys
we
could
meet at
beat
Alabama,
us.
it's not going to be good.
So big football fan. Colorado sports, I'm a big fan of.
Nice.
I'm a big beer guy, so going to different breweries, I love doing that. It's always a good time. And then
Nice.
like doing my yard when I'm not at work. So turf is my biggest hobby, though, I'd say for sure.
Nice. Yeah, if you like beer, I have to get your address. I'll have to send you some. There's some really good German. If you like German beers, there's some really good ones that
Yeah,
I have to send your way that I think you would.
yeah.
You
Let me
would
know. That'd be
like.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's good stuff. Very nice.
Nice.
All right. So we got our furthering question covered. So next up we got Mac042 says, thanks for the help. Hope all is well. And for getting the leveling rake ready for next season. Can't wait to go Bermuda. So that's a good question. Whatever you guys top dress, how much of it is manually done, and how much do you guys use equipment? Like you showed me some videos of some hardware you got here. Let me see if I can actually I can pull it up. See if it will load. Yep. So we got that, which looks awesome. I need one of those.
So yeah, that's a Dakota top dresser. So we're top dressing our putting green. So that's one of our delayed start days. And then we'll drag that. That's my dog Max. He's the real boss of the show. He makes sure everyone works. He goes to work with me every day.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll top dress greens like that, and it's really light during the summer. It's just to kind of smooth out that playing surface and dilute any thatch that might be down there, and then we'll drag that manually with a diamond drag broom mat afterwards, and we'll follow through the entire course when we do that. And we might do stuff like we have machines called Planet Airs that will run ahead of that, and then we'll top dress behind.
Yeah, you showed me your aeration project process. So, whenever I do top dressing, what I always advocate is core aerate. If you want to put on any kind of fertilizer or any other soil elements, get that done. Then top dress and then wait.
Yep.
And you showed me you sent me a picture of some of the aeration equipment you guys are working with. Can you tell us like this is an interesting one because it doesn't like this one takes any cores. So what kind of equipment is that? When would you use it?
So that's a solid tine needle tine. So we'll run that in the summer, mainly after our member guest tournament, which is our big tournament every July. And we'll push the greens to about as far as they can go. A full week of double cutting, double rolling. Some days double cutting, double rolling on the same day on them. So we'll push them as hard as we can to get green speeds really good for that tournament. And then we'll run those on a closed Monday after that event just to open that canopy and give everything a breath of fresh air. And those holes are so tiny. You can run those and then top dress and drag and roll behind them. And golfers, by the time they go out and play, they would have no idea that we had even done that. Yep. And then we also have another tool. It's from Toro. It's called a Hydroject, kind of an older piece of technology, but I'm a big fan of it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of tines, it blasts high speed jets of water into the soil profile. Similar to that, and it'll shoot it down and it'll fracture when it gets down to the profile to kind of open up a space. And that's the Hydroject. And that picture is the deep tine on the outcross. Okay. So we'll do that in this fall time, and that's 5.5 to 6 inch tines. And like I was telling you, just got to make sure on USGA greens that you're not blasting past your gravel drainage layer. So,
cool.
So yeah, it's pretty fun stuff.
So it sounds like the top dressing that you guys do is a little bit lighter than what, as far as how much material you put down and how quickly the turf recovers from it. Like whenever I do a top dressing, it's a week, 2 weeks really before the lawn is back to where it's looking decent again. It sounds like you guys could do a top dress, drag it in, and the next day, 2 days later, you're good to go.
Yep. So the only time you'll really see it is when we really blow up the greens for spring and fall aeration, because spring aeration we'll do a graden, which is a pretty aggressive verticut, and we'll run that across the greens, and it'll make 5 mil channels. down, and then we'll run a 3/4 inch hollow tine at about 4 inches, and we'll pull plugs on that. And then we'll do a top dressing, and we'll use over 3.5 acres, 4.5 to 5, 6 tons of sand over that 3.5 acres.
Wow.
We'll fill that in, drag that in real good. I mean, it looks like the Sahara Desert when we do that, when we top dress on top of them. There, you can't see any green. And we'll drag those in real good. And then we'll deep tine with that machine, the outcross that you had just shown. And then we'll go back again with another 5 to 6 tons and bury them again. So we'll do that in the springtime. And then the fall time's a little less disruptive. We'll use quad tine holders that are 1/4 inch. So you're still pulling out the same material.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the tines are a lot smaller. They're just more holes per surface area. And then we'll top dress and drag those back in. And we'll usually do that early September. And then we'll do a spray, and we'll alternate that. And we'll usually put about 0.2 of a pound of end down and a little extra stuff in there. A little more growth regulator just to encourage that lateral growth and get stuff healed up, because we'll have big tournaments still following up after that, and we need everything healed in by then.
Nice. So talking about PGR, like growth regulator, how often, like what's your schedule? Like when do you guys start? When do you guys stop with it?
So we'll start everything will start getting sprayed with PGR May, as soon as everything wakes up. We've got a pretty short season. It's usually May to mid-October.
Okay.
At such a high altitude. So we'll start spraying. So greens will get sprayed every other week through the end of September. And then greens, tees, and rough and surrounds will get it once a month, May through September.
Okay.
And the greens will go back and forth. So we use a product called PoaCure. We're trying to eliminate POA. So we were actually part of a research study that Riverside, California did for EPA approval. So we were doing that, and we had test plots, but we've just started now doing that full scale on all the cores. And it's a root absorbed herbicide that acts slowly. So we use paclobutrazol a lot, which is a root absorbed PGR. That also kind of knocks back POA. So you can't use that. The label restricts you. They don't want you to use anything like that. You can't have any mechanical stress after you've sprayed that for 3 days. So, and there's 2-week buffer periods before and after the application. So before, you don't want to do anything, and then after. So we'll switch to Primo only as the main growth regulator on greens for that. And that's usually about 7 ounces an acre is what we'll spray on that.
Okay.
And then once we're out of that 2-week buffer, we'll switch back to a product called Cutlass, and that's a 3-way herbicide with fludoc. I always forget that.
I think I
think you know what I'm talking about. So it has that. I always forget the pronunciation of that. And then it's got paclobutrazol and TPAC ethyl, which is just your Primo product, and we'll use that all the way through summer until we kick back up with our PoaCure apps in the fall. And then fairways and everything else is just regular Primo. So like I said, that 30 gallons we ordered, we'll use that all just on fairways, roughs, tees, and surrounds, and a little bit here and there just for the greens. But as soon as we're off that PoaCure buffer period, we'll use Cutlass.
Yeah, 30 gallons of PGR. When you think about that, this like 4 ounces of this, like this. Well, actually, no. How many is this? Yeah, 4 ounces of this. Like this will do most like a 4,000 square foot lawn, 4 apps. So you think about 30 gallons. That's a lot of PGR, man.
So yeah, when we spray our fairways, we have a GPS Toro sprayer. So it's 300 gallons. Sprays 1.5 gallons per 1,000.
Wow.
It's about 64 ounces of Primo we'll put in per tank.
Wow. So you don't, as far as like over apps, that because you're using GPS, you're able to really make sure you're not overlapping too much. You're not doubling up on that or anything like that.
So it's pretty remarkable. We got it last year before this season started, and it has individual nozzle control. So it's got, I think, 6 nozzles on either boom and then 4 in the middle boom, and it will know exactly where you're going. Like our assistant, he'll go out and everything was mapped. So everything's mapped to GPS. If he's spraying rough, if he's spraying greens, he'll go into the computer and he'll select what spray app he's doing, and the sprayer will know. So as soon as if he's spraying fairways, and as soon as the boom and the nozzles start hanging off into the rough, it'll individually turn off the nozzles as it tracks over. I think that the video I sent you can kind of see that when we were spraying Proxy on greens the other week. You you can see him kind of individually kick on.
So I can
But
find
yeah,
it.
he's got all the different areas of the course mapped out, and as he sprays it, it keeps track of where he's been, and it'll tell him, like, it'll line him up where his ideal pass should be next, and then he'll follow that. And if a nozzle hangs off on a spot that he's already sprayed, it'll
Just
turn
turn
that
off.
nozzle off. So there's no overspray and there's no wasted product, and we've got it down to, like, it's 450 gallons, 350 gallon tanks for greens, and he finishes the nursery green and there's nothing left in the tank. So from a money saving standpoint, it's pretty crazy. So I mean, it's new. This technology is new to the turf world. I mean, this is what agriculture's been using for forever. So it's now just coming to golf courses, but it's really nice and it saves a ton of money and time.
Nice. Now you talked about POA cure. Is that something that, I know you guys were part of the EPA trial? Is that something that you think that will ever be, or is there any plans to make that for residential use? You think there's not enough market? It's mainly for golf courses.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe eventually. Don't mark my words on that. It's just such a slow product because it's really designed for spraying on greens because it's such a slow active product because you don't want to spray it and then nuke your greens. It's designed to be slowly absorbed and then that to hinder that POA and then that bent grass or whatever your green variety is to outcompete it. So we'll do 3 apps of that in the spring, and I think it's 2 weeks, 2 weeks intervals, 2 or 3 weeks intervals between the sprays. So 3 of those in the spring, and then 2 of those in the fall.
Very cool.
So and then that's kind of tough because we'll spray proxy, which is POA seed head suppression, and we got to kind of time our spray schedule and calendar around that too. So sorry, it's kind of like a tangent there.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's here's the, it's interesting how much work and science and everything goes into just eliminating POA, to keeping POA out of the turf. So that's very, very cool. It's just interesting to hear, like, the
but
that you guys
POA, that's a great if it's managed well, it can be a really, really, really good playing surface.
Nice.
So,
yeah. Around here though, we hate it. We just, I mean, it's warm season grass. It's like, it's the great state. Like, a good question here we have here from T Johnson. He says, "Hey guys, can I apply a post and pre-emergent at the same to my Zoysia lawn?" You can, depending on which post-emergent you're going with. There's a product called Coastal that I am becoming a big fan of that contains it uses oh god, I'm thinking here. It uses prodiamine as the pre-emergent, and it uses simazine and imazaquin as the post-emergent. So the thing is to keep in mind, T Johnson, is that, like, pre-emergent needs to get down in the soil to work. So you need any post-emergents you're using, kind of like what Devin was talking about with POA Cure. It sounds like that product is root absorbed or works in the soil. You wouldn't want to mix something like prodiamine or other types of pre-emergent with, like, say, Celsius or something that you're going to put like a surfactant with to have it stick to the leaf, because something isn't going to work well. You're either going to have some pre-emergent getting on the foliage, which is not what you want. So if you are able to use a post-emergent that works the same way. So again, if it gets down in the soil as its means of working, then yeah, you're good to go. So if you're looking for a good product on that, Coastal is a really good option, because simazine, imazaquin, and prodiamine all need to get in the soil. So just like anything, it depends. So for cool season turf, that's a good question. I mean, pre-emergent, is that something you guys use very much on the golf courses, or do you mix anything else with it, or what's your take on that?
The only spot we'll spray Barricade, which is the
brand name of it's prodiamine, I think.
Prodiamine, yep. So we'll spray that on fairways and rough once a season, early season. But besides that, we really don't use anything else. We'll use Tenacity, but we don't really use it as a pre-emergent. We'll use it for bent grass control and approaches and fairways and tee boxes.
Okay. So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, we kind of just, it's the mentality that your agronomic program should be where your turf's healthy enough, where you're out competing weeds and really shouldn't have any. We'll spray 2,4-D in fairway sprays once a year just to knock back any weeds that may be popping up. But for the most part, you get things so dense and growing lush that pre-emergents really aren't needed. Very cool.
Very cool. See, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, because I do preach pre-emergent in the spring and fall, but then I also say, hey, if you're mowing frequently, you're fertilizing accordingly, you're just taking care of you're doing all the things that don't come in a bottle that helps you produce great turf. Like having a really dense stand of grass is really good insurance
Yep.
against weeds being able to take over. So that's good to hear
Yep.
that that's how you guys are approaching it. Because I imagine it'd be pretty expensive as well to have to spray post-emergent
Oh yeah.
on a course all the time, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That'd be pretty pricey.
Yeah, yeah. All right, C Hill says, greetings and salutations, Ron and Dev. Hashtag strive for greenness. Yeah, yep, I like it. I like it. Hey guys, and as we are coming up here on the hour, one, make sure you hit the like button as part of that. But we're gonna start the giveaway, maybe not the 8 o'clock hour, maybe 8:30 or so. So the way you get entered in that, super easy. You don't have to be a subscriber, although I'd appreciate you subscribing. But you have to comment on last week's live stream. So don't leave this one, but go on last week's live stream and leave a comment, and that's all you have to do to be entered to win. Either a Miramichi green hat or a Ron Henry hat, or some other cool swag we might do as well. So if you've not entered, go do that, because it's like there's only like 35 people enter right now, which is really good for 35 people. Makes your odds are really good. Yeah. But if anyone else is in here wants a chance at winning a hat, go comment on last week's video. All right. So Raquel Valacque has a question. This is a good one. I mean, this is something we all want to know. It says, how do you make sure to dominate the lawn season? So I guess, how do you make sure you can create a lawn that's going to dominate, all season? What are your thoughts? What do you think?
Just come up with a plan in the spring and then just stick with it. Make sure you're following good agronomic practices and mow. I probably mow my yard 3-4 times a week when I get home from work. So mowing is king. The more you mow, the better it'll look. Nice. So there'll be times where I'll get home and I'll be like, I use the description. I'll be like, oh, the turf kind of looks tired or off. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll do a spray, or maybe I'll do that. And then 90% of the time I'll just mow it. And then I'm like, that's all it needed.
All it needed is a good mow. Yep. Mowing covers a lot of things, man. People don't realize it. It's like the thing that is relatively free, other than your time, is one of the best things you can do for great grass.
Yep.
So, all right. So we got a question here, or a comment from Ogsan. I think he's talking about burning Bermuda. He says, thinking about smoking out Bermuda. Curious about KBG. Thoughts? Live in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's all you, man. I don't know about this.
I didn't just realize that too. The last person, Rachel Valquette, that's actually my future fiance. She's in Vegas right now, who commented. I didn't see the name until it had already left, so that's pretty funny.
Oh, okay. Nice. You got support. That's cool.
That's funny.
Nice. Well, Rachel, thanks for coming in and supporting, giving Devin some support. So what do you think? Do you burn Kentucky bluegrass, or is that a thing?
I'm thinking about smoking out Bermuda. Curious about KBG. I've heard of superintendents who in the fall time will burn their Poa greens with bent grass to knock it off. I would never try it myself, but I mean, it's worth a try. I don't know. I don't have enough experience to say you should definitely do it.
Yeah, it
could be a little risky, and I'm not sure if where you live, if it's HOA, if they even let you get away with it.
Yeah, HOA, and I mean, I think the idea is, the idea is that if even if you can do it, let's say everything else, HOA allows it. I just don't know if the benefits really are worth it. Like, I think the idea they say is that, yeah, it's a good way of doing a reset, and you also will, it's a way of doing a reset. And then it's a way of getting some carbon into the soil, but it's also a good way to set your house on fire and do a lot of potentially cause damage. So I've seen it done. I had a buddy that did it, like Lee. He did it probably 2-3 seasons ago, and his lawn came back and it looked great. But he's also been times when he's never done it and it looks good too. So I think
if you're gonna do that, I'd go with the glyphosate route and just burn your Bermuda down with that if you're gonna overseed with KBG.
Yeah. I agree. I would not. I'd say no for me, but go for it if you want. All right. So we got a question. I think we already answered Goldie Mohicas, and Dwayne Hopkins says, "Hey, Ron and Devin, happy Friday, everyone. Glad to be here for the live stream. Appreciate you coming to hang out, Dwayne. All right. Alex B has a question for you. He says, any particular challenges with golf course or residential lawn care at higher elevations? That's a good one. It's not one I ever thought about.
Just your growing season mainly. Things won't wake up here around till late April, early May. It's crazy between Colorado Springs, where I'm at, and Denver. We're usually 2 to 3 weeks behind them for things to wake up, and we shut down 3 to 4 weeks before then. Like I'll see pictures on Twitters from supers in Denver, and they're still nice, lush and green. Our course is already going dormant. So mostly elevation is just your growing season is your window's quite a bit different. You'll just get colder quicker, and not much as far as growing grass elevation wise.
Okay.
So it doesn't really care about that. Just your growing season's different with temperatures.
Okay. So it wakes up later, and like the elevation doesn't make much of a difference, I imagine, right? So okay.
No.
Interesting. So now here's a very important now Devin, I'm going to ask you a question, and this is potentially very polarizing. So think carefully, answer carefully.
All
So
right.
Patrick in Texas says, what is your lawnmower of choice?
I've got a Toro 22-inch recycler that I have.
Okay.
I'm hoping we're going to be moving out of this house in a few years, and I'll probably do a KBG ryegrass mix in our next house, and I'll probably reel mow that 0.5 somewhere in there, 3/4 of an inch. I'll reel mow it at the next house. But right now, I just have a Toro 22-inch recycler mower with a stripe kit on the back.
Nice.
And it does a good job. As long as you keep the blade sharp and you mow a lot, you can get good results.
So that's a good option. So that is cut with a Toro recycler. That looks awesome too, man.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks really awesome. So that's a good question. As far as, with reel mowers, I guess with you guys, how often? I mean, with you guys probably several times a week you guys are sharpening, if not every day. How often do you guys sharpen your equipment?
So our fairway mowers probably twice a season.
Okay.
We have like strengthened steel blades on those, so they don't have to be ground as much. And then for greens mowers, 2-3 times a month, depending, especially if we're putting sand down. Mechanic, if you ask any mechanic at a golf course, they hate sand. So,
right.
Because we'll do that every week. I'm always getting asked, are you top dressing this week? No, we're spraying. Okay, good. What about next week? Yep, we're top dressing. Oh, and then he starts throwing wrenches.
Yeah, it's going to tear a bunch of stuff. So that's good then, because this past year, I was able to get through really only 2 services, 2 sharpenings, and one of that's due to the same thing that your mechanic says. It's sand. I top dressed. I didn't raise it up quite enough, and tell you get the reel into sand, even for just a few passes, it'll ruin an edge.
It's torched.
Yeah. So interesting. So for most homeowners, if they're dealing with like a Toro or any kind of quality greens mower, if they're not top dressing or they're just keeping sand out of the reel and bed knife, they should be able to get away with the season for the most part, right? Or close to that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yep. Cool. Very cool. All right. So we got Kurt saying you must dominate the neighborhood. I agree, Kurt. You must do all you can to dominate. And then
that's my good friend from college too. So that's funny. So we got another.
Yeah, everyone's saying Devin's famous.
Friend in the.
So we got to come in and watch out. That's good, man. That's awesome. Nice. All the support. All right. So Evie has a question. Is Evie a friend from college, or someone that is not as yet? Okay.
New. Yep.
All right. So he says, do you have any fine fescue on your course or any experience with it? I'm thinking about using it for my renovation. What say you?
We don't have any fine fescue that's prominent. In our bluegrass mix, we have some fine that germinates quick, but then as soon as that KBG kicks off, it'll outcompete that, and then that fine fescue kind of fades away. So we don't really have any predominant fine fescue on the golf course. Everything is KBG.
Okay. It's just
and rye.
Is not just because there's not a I guess it's even fine fescue. I'm not a fescue person, so I don't really know. I guess it's probably supposed to be mowed fairly tall, right? I imagine.
Fine fescue you can get down pretty low, because we'll put that in our turf blend, so it'll be on fairways which are 3/8 of an inch. So you can mow it. You can mow fine fescue pretty low. So it's a really, really fine like leaf blade. Nothing like turf type tall fescue where it's like kind of a little fatter blade,
like cool season crabgrass, sort of.
Yeah.
All right. So Dwayne's up here. It's a question about electric mowers. This is a good question if you guys actually use electric equipment. And he says, "Hey Ron,
we do.
What are your thoughts on the new Sterling electric mower, like the partnership with Ego, as I have quite a few Ego products that I'm extremely happy with? I don't know much about the new Owlet mower. Here's the thing. I think electric mowers are going to eventually become the future. Like once they can figure out how to make the batteries work and, to where it works, it's not a hamper. That's where everything eventually is going to go. I don't have any electrical equipment right now, but I mean, what about you guys on your courses? Like how much electric do you run?
We've got a few triplexes that are electric hybrid. So they got a gas motor, but they run like all the reels are run off electric motors. But you
Okay.
actually get a better cut versus hydraulic motors because that electric motor can spin at a much higher RPM and more consistently.
Okay.
Surprisingly, but Toro I know does have full electric walk mowers for greens. We don't have those.
Okay.
We just have gas mowers for the walkers, but. You are 100% right, Ron. Just from we actually had a turf conference last week, which was kind of why we were bogged down a little bit up in Denver, and the Toro reps. A lot of that stuff is going
Electric.
full electric. Yeah, so I would bet in the next 5-6 years, mostly everything's going to be electric. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to think about it. Like, I mean, a golf course. I mean, they're awesome. Like I said, I've been to Augusta National, and the best way I can describe it, I always tell people is that imagine the best grass you've ever seen, and it's better than that. That's the best way. That's the only way I can describe it. But it's from an economic or from an environmental standpoint, it's not the best as far as like the amount of fuel is involved and everything else. So if we can switch over to a greener way to power all the equipment, I think it's something that's going to eventually just going to have to happen.
Yeah, sustainability is a big driving factor, especially for golf. The more sustainable you can be, the better image we have as a turf industry, and that's what a lot of people who aren't golfers just think we're pretty wasteful, but it's
I don't know,
not the trend that it used to be. So sustainability is really driving the train nowadays.
Nice, yeah. And then again, one of the companies that I partner with, Miramichi Green, that's their big thing, is all about sustainability. That's why, a question I often get about their products is like, do we need to water their stuff in or anything? And anything along those lines, they say no. Pretty much everything we engineer we don't require that because for a home lawn, not a huge deal. But if I go to if I came to you and said, hey Devin, we want you guys to start using this at at the club at Flying Horse, and you say, hey, you put our products down, but then you have to go and run irrigation to water it in. That's it for a home lawn. Not a terrible deal. For a golf course, it's a big deal.
So yeah, there's actually the wetting agents we use on. That's why we use granular on the greens, because that matter. You just water that in later in the night. But for the rough and fairways and everything, that dispatch doesn't require immediate watering in. You just got to irrigate or leave baskets off before the next mowing.
Okay.
So doesn't require watering. And I was going to say, since you've been to Augusta, I guess which way do I need to go? I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, nice. Oh, 2016 looks like there. Nice.
So yep. And then I got another one framed up. I've had some friends who have volunteered during the Masters, brought me back a couple flags.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's Augusta is a very special place. I'd like to see it, and I mean, we never get to see video of it, but I'd like to see what Augusta looks like when it's not April, like when it's not in its pristine, its glory, what the course looks like.
So I have seen drone footage of Augusta during their close season, and it's quite different than what we see on TV. Yep.
Yeah. I bet. All right, so we got a question here. Mazama Blues in the house says, happy Friday, Ron and Devin, #strong Island Turf represent. He says, what type of Kentucky bluegrass do you have? Do you oversee Kentucky bluegrass with a different variety or stick to the same cultivar of KBG?
Off the top of my head, I can't recall what my variety is. I have to look at the label form. I think there's 6 different varieties that I use on my lawn. And then I do every fall. I just started doing it this past year and the year before, and doing just 1.5 pounds per 1,000.
Okay. And then Alex is kind of following with that. He says, what kind of cool styles and brands does Devin use and recommend? I have used so many on my lawn. I had good results with Baron Brug KBG. Do you have a particular preference, like on the courses? What do you guys, or if you can say?
I do know Baron Brug does make a really good. I've had some ryegrass seed. The guy who made Jeff, I believe his name is, he's an ex-superintendent who did Turf Mend, sent me some Baron Brug Turf Mend with ryegrass that I've been using on my front yard, which is a pretty awesome product. So Baron Brug does make great seed, but as far as what we use on the course and what I use on my yard, I get through a company called Buffalo Seed Brand, which is a seed company here in Colorado.
Okay. So really then, as long as it's a quality seed, you're good to go. But you don't. I mean, it doesn't make sense as far as you have to go to a particular brand to say that this is the only way. I mean, probably like anything else, right?
I would try to avoid big box store seed because you usually get a lot of noxious weeds and weed seed matter in those. If you go to like a local turf supply company, or I know even like what's his name? He does the GCI turf. He's got a couple varieties on there that I've actually looked at before that look pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I would just avoid big box brand seed.
Yeah,
Would
you know,
be my advice.
fun story about that. So one of the one of the owners of the studio that I do martial arts at, his front lawn is heavily shaded, so he's doing like fescue. And he tried some big box store seed, and it never grew in. And I said, listen, man, go get online, get like Baron Brother, go get some kind of quality seed. And it was a little bit more money, not like double the price, a little bit more expensive. And he was so excited because he got like awesome germination, like it looked great. And I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, it's just, I always say when it comes to seeding, the seed is not necessarily the most expensive part. It's like the watering and all the work that goes into it. So go with a better seed if at all possible.
Get what you pay for.
Yep, definitely. Buy once, cry once.
Yep.
All right. So Pablo has a question saying, can I scalp Bermuda grass now and use a hose weed killer in Georgia? I would not, Pamela. Like right now we're going into the winter. Let the Bermuda rest, relax. You don't want to, I keep my grass at 3/4 of an inch even throughout the winter. But again, in Georgia, we have fairly mild winters. I would not scalp now because the grass isn't going to grow now, right? So I would, save the scalping for March timeframe next year. As far as a hose weed killer, I don't know what you're trying to control. But if it's like, I imagine this time of year, it's going to be cool season weeds. POA is going to be probably more of your problems. So if you're trying to put down something like Image, like a Mazaquin, you can give that a go if you want. But yeah, I would not scalp now. Scalping now is not something I would do. And scalping, that's a good question about cool season turf. Do you guys, is that a thing really in Colorado? Do people scalp their lawn? No, not really.
No.
So we're just crazy cutting all our grass off and
no. Yeah, the only time I see scalped lawns is when the guy down the street lets it get to 8 inches and then mows it once a month, and then you drive by and it's bright yellow.
Yeah, I could see that. So it's not a matter of practice. So in the spring, people are not scalping their lawns in Colorado. Okay. No. I got you. All right. So Nyan's here. He says, hey, Ron, that coastal pre-emergent worked like a charm on POA. Thank you as always for your expertise. Yeah, man, you're very welcome. Yeah. So, I mean, coastal is, it's the bees. I forget the professor's name. He's a professor of turfgrass and I should remember his name, but I know his first name is Bert. I forget the last name, but he compared POA. I'm sorry. He compared coastal against, like Spectacle Flow, some other really high dollar pre-emergents. And it worked very well. And you got to remember, like Spectacle Flow is prodiamine, imazaquin, simazine, so relatively inexpensive herbicides, but that blend works really well. You got similar results, similar control against POA in warm season turf. So I'm glad that you're getting a good result with it. I put it on my lawn, and we're still early in the season to see, but it's things are, confidence is high. Confidence.
I was going to say we do use Spectacle Flow here, not on the turf, but we'll spray it in our bunkers to keep weeds and turf growing up. It'll nuke cool season grass, but in the bunkers, especially when you get those rhizomes growing through the edges on bunker faces, we'll spray Spectacle Flow as a pre-emergent in our bunkers.
Nice.
And then on carp paths as well. And that stuff that's a great product. I'm jealous that you guys can actually spray that on your grass.
Yeah, because it's supposed to last, they say, up to like 10 months to a year, 10 to 12 months, depending on how you put it down. So it's a really, as far as like a serious pre-emergent, it's a really Cadillac product. I mean, and with a price to boot, obviously.
Yep.
But
for
it's
a little jug.
Yeah, little jug.
Little jug, expensive price tag. But that stuff, like I said, you get what you pay for. That stuff works really good.
Yeah, one of my buddies has a lawn care, a turf care business, and he, I think he was telling me it's like $1,600 or something like that for 1 gallon of it. Granted, it goes a really long way, but it's incredibly expensive. It's super, super, super expensive. So,
yeah, I believe it. Yeah, we'll use about 32 ounces throughout the entire growing season. About 2 apps for bunkers per year is what we'll spray on that. So, but yeah, that stuff's awesome.
Nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so we got a question about centipede. He says, I just had centipede put down today here in North Florida. When can I put down fertilizer, and how often after the first application can I fertilize? When can I put down pre-emergent for the first time? Okay, so you're in North Florida. So if you're in North Florida, you're going to get, like, your lawn is likely going to go dormant. Like it's not like you're like south of I-4, right? So fertilizer, if it's still growing, I mean, I'm going to follow Devin's advice here. If the grass is still growing, like it's actively growing, you're cutting it, stuff's coming off, you can continue to feed it. But as soon as it stops, pump the brakes and stop fertilizing it. Yeah, and then pre-emergent with Bermuda is I mean, you guys are not going to believe this, but in many places, Bermuda is considered a weed. I find that offensive personally, but with that, it can take a lot of abuse. Other grasses cannot do that. So really, the conventional thinking will say if you put down and install new turf, wait 12 months, 6 to 12 months before you do any kind of pre-emergent on it to prevent there being problems. I don't know how hardy centipede is. I doubt it's as hardy as Bermuda. So I would say if you did it today, what are we in, November? Yeah, even the spring is pushing it, man. You might want to wait till next fall to do pre-emergent, which is going to kind of not be cool because it means you're going to have to deal with you're going to be dealing with crabgrass and whatnot next year. But it's a way to prevent damaging your centipede. A late application of pre-emergent might be okay, but with Bermuda I would definitely do it. But I with your centipede, I'm just not sure. So safe answer is wait a year. Wait a year is what I would say to go with. I guess there's another reason for you guys when you guys doing seeding so regularly on the course, pre-emergent is going to negatively impact its ability for that seed to germinate and grow in well, right? So it's probably another reason why you guys don't bother with it.
Yep, exactly.
Cool. All right. So Thin Cut has a question. He says, "Good evening, everyone. I'm sure this has been answered before, but how long after applying post-emergent can I take a soil sample? Thanks, and don't forget to tap the like button ever so gently." I don't know that post-emergent herbicide shouldn't materially affect soil sample results. Not that I'm aware of. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, maybe a day or two after it's watered in the soil. I don't think that anything to worry about.
Yeah, I've never seen that one. Yeah, so you should be good to go. Thin Cut, as Devin saying, a couple days, week, and then you're good to go. And then Lavendi says, for southern lawns, do you apply fungicide as a preventative? So here's the thing. I do. I always say if you've not had any fungus issues on your lawn, there's a great product from Syngenta called Caravan G. It's an insecticide and a fungicide all in one. And I've had awesome results for applying that in May. So like May, June is when we're entering the window for us where we start having fungus problems. Like an app of that, one, you get your insecticide down so you don't have to deal with grubs and other nasties that can ruin your turf. But as a preventative to prevent summer patch, brown patch, it's good for that. If you've had fungus issues, kind of like as Devin was saying, like if you've had like fairy spot or you've had other issues in your fungus problems in certain parts of your lawn, Caravan isn't the best product. Like I would split it up. I would use like something like a Celoprin for your insecticide, and then use something like I'm a big fan of Headway, which is propoconazole and azoxystrobin. Yeah, do you guys make use of that at all, or do you guys have? Do you stick with your more commercial grade?
We use propoconazole, but that's in a mix with the chlorthalonil at the course. But I do have used Headway G here at my house, and that's a good product. And then I have some of the liquid, just the off-brand Prime Source that I'll use when I need to put that down. Cool. But Headway G is a great fungicide. Yeah,
I like it. I had an issue with some patch, some brown, I think it's brown patch. I think I had brown patch, no, large patch. I had some large patches spring in my lawn. And I did a Headway G application. Like 2 weeks later, it was done, and you can see the grass was really healing. Did another follow-up app, and lawn's been great ever since. So yeah, it's definitely a great product. Not cheap, but like anything else, it fixed the problem.
What you pay for. Yep.
You get what you pay for. That's what I tell everyone. You get what you pay for when it comes to that. All right, guys. So we are at the top of the hour. Let's do a hat. Let's do one of the hats. So we're gonna do one of the Miramichi green hats. We'll do one of those. Let's do. What do you think? I'll let Devin choose. What do you think? We should do gray or desert tan first? What do you think?
Let's do gray first.
Okay, we'll do gray first. We're gonna go with the gray first. All right, so we're gonna switch over. So guys, here's the thing. If you did not comment on last week's video, you didn't get entered. So there's time because we still had another one to do here. We still have a couple more hats to do, but we're probably gonna start doing them every 30 minutes now. So we'll switch over and I'll show you guys how that works. I have this random comment picker tool that has last week's live stream in it. I'll show you guys that. So there's no funny business going on. Of course, I'm going to get an ad, of course. But you can see this is last week's live stream, right? So And you can see the comments here where people are talking about the hat giveaway. So we're good to go. So this is the one that we are using in the comment picker. So paste that in. We'll say fetch. And we have 48 people. Wow. So you guys stepped it up. Good. Very cool. All right. So our first winner for the gray hat is Alex B. Alex, are you present? I know you're present because you're asking questions tonight. So Alex, you, sir, have won the first hat, the Miramichi green gray hat. Congratulations. If you don't mind, sir, send me a text, not text, you know my phone number, but send me an email to here, Ron at golfcourselawn.com with your mailing address of where you want said hat to go. And we will get it sent out to you. So Alex B is our first winner. So cool. Congratulations, sir, on the gray Miramichi hat.
And then I'm just scrolling through here. I know somewhere on my phone I've got a picture of my tag with my KBG variety if I can find it real quick.
Yeah. Definitely look for it. Yeah, and let us know. We can. We'll let everyone know because everyone wants to know. You know, they want everyone wants to use what the pros are using. So even though you're like saying, "Hey, I literally found what was on sale," but this is what I'm rolling with, guys. All right, let me get a super chat down here from Mr. Josh Habib. Josh is the one that contributed the very cool hats that we're going to be doing tonight. I decided that, you know what, that we had some votes for the navy. We had some votes for the two-tone. So because this is America, we're going to do both of them tonight. You guys are going to both. You guys have a chance to win each. So thanks so much, Josh. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate you so much.
Super chat received.
He says, happy Friday, Doctor and Dmer. Nothing to add, just enjoying turf talk. Dmer, let us know when we can come out there and shoot 100. Hope you're both doing well. Cheers, fellas. 100, man, you're optimistic. A legit 100 or 100 with mulligans? Are we talking about a legit, like, no do-overs 100? That's a good question. So, I mean, do you play golf, Devin, at all, or?
Not very often. If I go to like outings and stuff that are like superintendent outings, I'll play in those. But as far as golfing, I don't play. I don't think I played any rounds this summer.
Wow.
By the time I'm ready to leave work, I'm ready to go home. Because then if I play, then the staff hates it. Because then I've got about a 30-mile long list of things I saw while I was playing that we need to do. So you just can't really turn it off.
They're like, go home. No.
I love playing other people's courses, which is nice.
I got you. You know, it's funny. So, because your course, you get it all babied up and nice, and then with you, all you see are the flaws. Because it's true. Like even when I mow, I mean, granted, my lawn is not like a golf course, right? It's not. But literally, when I mow, people will be walking by and say, "Man, your lawn looks so incredible." And literally, all I see is everything that's wrong with it. I'm like, it's thin there. It's not same color here, and I had a little scalp there, and I see are the flaws.
That's exactly the truth.
Yeah. Okay, very, very cool. All right. Troy Ridley says, hey, y'all, thanks for sharing with us DIYers. We're trying to learn our lawns. I have Central Texas Bermuda. Very, very cool, Troy. Very awesome. And Alex B has another question. He says, when can the courses seed? And does foot and play traffic ever hinder germination? That's a good question. I never thought about that.
Nope. So you'll be surprised by this. So I've learned just from watching a lot of DIY videos when they say you overseed that you shouldn't mow for X amount of time. When we overseed on the course, regular maintenance continues as normal. You can't let an approach go for 4 or 5 weeks.
Never gonna happen.
You'd be in a lot of trouble. So you just mow that turf as it germinates and it comes up. And I do the same for my yard. When I overseed, I just mow it regularly and never have had any problems.
Cool.
But spring and fall is when we'll overseed. You usually don't want to do it too much during the summer when it's hot, and give those little seedlings as much chance of survival as you can.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Then we got Rolex DS SD says, let's go. Yeah, we're going. We got Love My Lawn saying good evening, Ron. Good evening, Love My Lawn. And then we have Timothy Smith with a question about his soil test. He says, hey, Ron, got my soil test back. Minimal change based on the spring. pH good, but iron and other things low. Any concerns with adding iron over the fall and winter? I wouldn't. I would apply it when the grass is actively growing. I wouldn't. Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't. It's a micronutrient. It's really, yes, it does help make the lawn green. It does help with the chlorophyll production and producing a deep green. But right now your lawn's dormant, so there's not really a whole lot of need to to do it. So I would not. Yep. I wouldn't. All right, with Jim Carson. I think Jim also works at a golf course, I believe. He says, checking in late here from SoCal. And then next up, Victor saying, we can't get enough of these live streams tutorial. Great to see Devin on to Lawn Legends. There you go. Nice. All right, very awesome. But now, see, so he butters us up first, and now here comes the question. He's going to rough us up a little bit. He says, quick question.
Here we go.
It says, if you could only choose 4 products for the Flow Zone, Typhoon, what 4 liquids would they be for cool season lawn? So I guess this question is, okay, so you're going to do a backpack sprayer. What 4 liquid products would you use on cool season turf? You can only choose 4. What are you going with?
Only 4. Oh man, that's a tough one. I guess for me, I'd probably do 10-20-20 soluble fertilizer. And then I'd probably do my iron product, and then Primo, and then like a seaweed or a kelp mix in with that is what I would go with.
Okay. So Primo, kelp mix, and so seaweed. So that's a good point. That's a good thing. So you hear some people say that, seaweed extract, products that contain seaweed extract, snake oil or not, don't really work. I've seen benefits in my lawn since I started adding that to the program. What do you guys see as far as benefits with those products?
I think it works great. We use it. We order a tote. It's called a project called Algae Green, and we'll order a tote of it. I think it's 500 gallons, 750 gallons, somewhere in there. And we'll use that on greens, tees, fairways, rough. It goes in every spray tank. I'm a pretty big firm believer in that. And then I'll use similar product that I get from one of our distributors out here on my home lawn. I think it just helps with stress relief, helps push roots. I think it's a very beneficial product to use, especially in combination in conjunction with a bunch of other products you throw in the tank.
Nice. So yeah, so kind of like it by itself, yeah, sure there's some benefits, but it's something that I tend to like my program. If you've ever watched any of the content, like the beginning of the month, that's when my PGR app goes down. I will do like NutriKelp, which this is a 24% kelp extract product from Miramichi Green.
I've looked at that on your website before, actually.
Yeah.
I might end up ordering some for next season.
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of, here's the thing, Miramichi Green, primarily their market is turfgrass industry. It's mainly like, I can never say the word, like it starts with the equine or equestrian, like like horse parks.
Equestrian, yep.
And golf courses. It's only now they're really branching into, home lawn care. But yeah, it's an excellent product, but I tend to mix some of that with my Primo Max with my PGR. If I'm also doing my fert, I use like a liquid fert, I mix that in with it. So I tend to do, I try to put it all together, and that's why I like to use products that will all work nice, so that I have to get there one time, spray it, and I'm good to go. So
nice.
So cool. So Victor, so there you go. You have his thoughts. He's got a kelp extract product. It's selling PGR, and you had your liquid fert. What was the fourth? You had something else.
Just an iron product.
And just an iron product. So there you go. So
I throw your iron in there.
That's his 4. So see, he didn't burn one of his choices on a fungicide or a herbicide.
Maybe Asterix, a miners fertilizer.
So you might. Okay, here we go. So we get to miners. Asterix and miners. Okay.
If no one's looking, I'm splashing that in.
Okay. Fair enough. We can let you have that. All right. So see, well, all these Alabama people are coming out now. So Timothy says, "Roll Tide, Bama grad in the house." But Ron is cool. Here's the thing. I got to hand it to Alabama. But Alabama, you know what? The one thing you can say about Alabama when they play football is Atlanta, maybe the curse is broken with the Braves, but you can tell they hate losing. Like, they play like their lives depend on it. Like, it's the last game they're ever going to play. And that's why they win. And I mean, Nick Saban doesn't hurt as a coach either, right? But
for sure.
Yeah, they. I have to give Bama respect. They do their thing.
I think we got New Mexico State tomorrow at 10. So if that's not a blowout win, I'm going to be very disappointed.
But here's the thing. I mean, they'll still get a bowl game. I mean, I think if Georgia and them will probably. We'll see. We'll meet at some point.
It'll be the SEC championship, I'm guessing. That'll be a great game.
Not for us.
Well, I don't know. You guys look pretty good this year.
I don't know. I mean, Mahomes should have beat Brady last year. You saw how that worked out, right? So it's it's hard to for a team that's been there consistently and has done it consistently, when the big game comes, like big game and playoffs and just the regular season, like now, they're completely different. So we'll see. I'd like to see Georgia win. I'd like to see Georgia win, but I'm not going to be surprised if Bama does at all. All right, so Heartfelt Fashion says, "Hey Ron, I know you love lemonade, but have you tried Chick-fil-A diet lemonade? For a diet thing I drink, I think it's great." No, I'm not a big fan of. Maybe it's gotten better, but when I was a lot younger as a kid, I used to drink diet. I had like diet soda, and the aftertaste from it just never really got into me, and I never really liked anything diet since. It's kind of like the way I don't like lamb either, right? Like lamb prepared nicely is good, but I had it and it was just tastes really gamey to me when I was a kid, so I just never really ate it anymore. So not. I have to try it. I've never had it. I mean, what about you? How are you on the diet drinks? Do you drink diet drinks at all, Devin? Or
I'm not a big soda guy. I drink a lot of water, mostly
Mhm.
coffee, and then beer is my third option.
So when you're putting liquid, you're maximizing your liquid. So water, beer,
Yeah,
coffee.
and coffee. Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. No wrong with that. I can get down with that. All right. So Delvin says, I know that too much N in the fall and winter can contribute to spring dead spot on warm season turf. Curious if there are any studies that show that dog urine would do the same thing during the dormant season. Huh.
I don't know about warm season grass, but I know dog urine will kill cool season grass in the winter
Mm-hmm.
because my pup Max, he'll pee right off the edge on the rocks and the turf all winter, and then I'll have a nice long strip of dead turf and dead spots when things start waking up in the spring, and then just throw a little seed on it and you're all right. So
See,
I don't know about warm season, but cool season, it will nuke it throughout the winter.
oh yeah, dogs. Yeah, dogs. Dog urine is horrible on our turf too. The one thing I have to say I'm jealous about you guys, like getting Bermuda to grow from seed, or for Zoysia is almost impossible, but getting Bermuda to grow from seed is like an exercise in patience. Like your guys' answers, we'll throw some seed on it and it'll grow in. Like here, it's not like that. For us, at best, it's
Yeah.
like a 3-week process if the stars align, the sun is exactly where it needs to be, tons of water. I'm jealous for you guys as far as cool season turf. You guys can just get away with that. So.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I'll just go out there and I won't even do anything to it. I'll just sprinkle the seed in and kind of rough it down into the turf canopy and do normal waters, and then hopefully in 7 to 10 days you get little
And you're good to
seedlings
go.
coming up. So nothing special.
So that's a good point. So as far as spring dead spot, so I guess as far as cool season turf fungus issues, like what are the ones that you guys most commonly have to deal with?
I'd say leaf spot and melting out is a big one. Brown patch is a big one, and then probably necrotic ring spot. Like I battle, it's weird. Like my front yard is like perfect. It's like the example yard, what you want, and then the backyard's the problem child. I'll get no disease in the front yard, and then in June and July, the backyard will just be getting roasted by leaf spot. And it's like, how
What's
is this
going on?
possible? Yeah. But yeah, mostly just like necrotic ring spot, leaf spot, melting out, and necrotic. Yeah. So nothing too. A couple propiconazole apps and
And you're good to go.
oxystrobin, and you're all right.
Cool. So this is a good, interesting question from Evie. It says, what kind of problems can arise from, I'm thinking you're saying organic material getting too high, and how can you go about fixing it?
So that's actually a really good question. So when your OM gets too high, obviously it'll lead to disease. You can have disease problems. You can have bad drainage problems, which then makes your disease problems even worse. Then you can also get moss. Moss likes to start living in that area, and then you can really start getting a bunch of bare spot. And then as far as alleviating it, core aeration is huge. Verticutting, dethatching, and dethatching and verticutting it's kind of a similar thing, but if you can like rent an aggressive verticutter like a Graydon that goes down and actually digs into that soil profile a couple millimeters low and pulls all that out and just kind of lets things breathe,
Mm-hmm.
that'll help alleviate that. And then top dressing with your mix to dilute that organic matter is also really big. And then just kind of watching your agronomic practices, make sure you're not ferting too much, because that's usually what leads and starts causing that high OM, is when you start piling that nitrogen on there and it's almost too much and your plants are growing too fast and it's getting too thick.
Right.
So I'd say agronomic culture practices, dethatch, aeration, top dressing, and then just watching your nitrogen fertilizer can
Very,
help
very cool.
alleviate that.
So a sign of that, could it be like some sponginess you might see in the top of your
Yep.
top layer? Is that like a common indicator of that?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah. It is. That's a good one. Okay, so Heartfelt Fashion says, I went to Site 1 and got some more Carbon Pro G. The attendant asked if I was putting it on my lawn. I told him I was, and he says, I know it's the best lawn in the neighborhood, and it is. Thanks, Ron. Yeah, I am a big fan. So Carbon Pro G, the biochar product has a lot of value in it, and as well as the compost. So on your course, that's a good question, Devin. As far as like what you guys use, do you guys use any type of carbon products, any kind of biochar, compost, or not really, right?
No, we
Besides
don't.
your course, I can't imagine.
No, yeah, we don't use. We met with a guy for it's like a chicken biochar last year that I know our North course is using for. They're going to be building a clubhouse, and they put some of that down for an establishment on an event lawn. But as far as at the main club course, we don't use any carbon products or biochar or anything along that matter.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it sounds like you guys, because again, it's a cost thing too, and you've got a program that works and produces a result that is good enough to keep the members happy. So just stick with it. And that's right.
But for a home lawn, that's a great thing to use. Smaller surface area to cover. So I would definitely use it on a home lawn.
Yep. Awesome. All right. So Jesus, what's up, Ron? Loving the live stream. Is packed with all types of information for the DIYer. Thank you. Don't thank me. I am just, this is Devin's world. I just live in it, right? That's all this is. I was telling him, I'm really relaxed because it's cool. I get to have a viewer, a guest that, it takes a lot of the stress off because I'm not having to look at the comments and everything else. And, it's a turf process. It's always good. You guys can ask the tough questions and I can be, Devin, what say you? And he'll be like, you can give a good answer, right? All right. So Adrian Fraser's in the house. He says, good evening. Question for both of you. Are you doing any pre-planning for the increased price of fertilizer? It's a good question. I didn't know the price was going up.
I was just going to say I hadn't noticed fertilizer prices going up. I've noticed seed prices has gone up, but fertilizer haven't really noticed.
Yeah. So for me, Adrian, not really. Because remember, I don't actually, as far as like granular goes, it's like a once a month thing for me. So really we'll start, let's say, maybe late March, early April. So April, May, June, July, August, September. So it's like 6 bags of fertilizer really of the Humic Max product that I like. So I don't need enough of it to where, it's that huge of an issue. So yeah, I mean, if Devin and them aren't having the problem, and again, they use a lot more fertilizer than we do, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. But yeah, I didn't hear it's going up.
I was going to say, we'll have for our organic fertilizer, it's a 1624. We'll have 400 bags that'll come in that we'll use for next season that we'll use on our early order. And that's for rough fairways, 2 split apps, spring and fall.
Okay.
So bulk app, spring and fall, and then spray throughout the year with 1/10 of a pound a month on fairways and that kind of stuff. And then we'll cap it off in the fall time.
Nice. All right, so Dimitri has a question about applying pre-emergent fan tip or types of nozzles. It says, prodiamine is best applied with a sprayer tip nozzle for soil absorption, not the white fan nozzle. So the nozzle to use, I don't know if I have one here. Yeah, I think I got one here. So like an air induction, the T-Jet nozzles, the air induction nozzles, the one that produces the larger droplets, are what you want to go with. So one like this guy here, I don't see the name, I don't see the model on it, but I think this is one of their air induction tips, one of their AI tips, like that guy. So something like that will work well.
That's actually what we use on our Toro sprayer. It's a blue nozzle, not red, but
okay, something like that.
Those T-Jet, yep. So that's exactly what's on those. Those are nice, and then we're able to control that GPM that's going through those, just through the computer system. But yeah, those T-Jet nozzles are good. But yeah, bigger droplets for soil absorbed, smaller mist for foliar absorbed is what you usually want to go with.
Gotcha. All right, so Alexander says, I don't mean burn. So the question about like burning the lawn earlier, I guess he means kill. He says, I don't mean burn, I mean kill. I mean kill with Roundup. Sorry if I confuse you.
There we go. Well, he said glyphosate is what I would have gone with. So yeah, I would use Roundup.
Yeah, you use Roundup. Yeah. If you're trying to kill it off, that's the way to go. But that's if you're trying to get rid of it, not as a way of treating weeds in the lawn. That's a good question. So it's a good one for you guys, and it doesn't sound like you guys do that, but I've heard. As a economical way of doing herbicide treatment, like a post-emergent herbicide, like some places will take like glyphosate, dilute it heavily, and like mist or dust the areas or dust the areas they're trying to treat with it, and it doesn't kill the grass they want to keep, but it's a way of like controlling weeds. I personally find that very risky to do.
I
Yeah, so
wouldn't do it.
yeah, I wouldn't do. Okay, so good because you hear people talk about that. You hear people talking about using glyphosate as a growth regulator, using it as a selective herbicide. Somewhat, if you delay it enough, and I'm like, listen,
Yep.
there's too many great products that are actually designed to do that. Because if you get it wrong and you have an oopsie, it's going to be a nasty oopsie. So
Yep. I would not recommend that. No.
yeah, yeah. You're like, no, not spraying it. Glyphosate in the fairways? No,
No. No. No.
no.
No.
All right. Okay, so Tom V has a question. He says, hey guys, great to have you both online. Demir, what grass types are you maintaining these days? Do you use a spoon feeding program? If so, what products? What time of year do you begin using? I think he says these products.
These
If I was
products.
going to guess.
So for my home lawn, I got bluegrass, ryegrass mix. Front yard's ryegrass, bluegrass mix, and then the backyard's all bluegrass. Is spoon feeding I do. I think we were talking about that a little earlier.
Mhm.
2/10 of a pound with a granular fertilizer at the top of every month is what I'll put down with that, and it's an organic based, so there's a little bit of additive benefits to that. And then every other week it'll get 1/10 of a pound of fertilizer. And as far as products, I use a lot of the stuff I get from distributors here in Colorado. So I'll use a 20-20-20 soluble fertilizer, and then I just break that down, do the math for whatever NPK ratio that I want per pound of 1,000 for whatever nutrient. And then I use a soluble iron product that's also sold through one of those distributors. I have used Lawn Star liquid iron.
Mhm.
I do the Lawn Whisperers, Justin's YouTube channel. I think
Nice.
he's got some pretty good stuff on there. So I tried that stuff from him, and that's pretty good stuff. And then I have just mostly that soluble product, and then some micro nutrient packages that has like your boron, your zinc, just your random stuff, and I'll throw that in there, and that's usually like 2 ounces per 1,000 every other week.
Mhm.
And then Primo I'll put in there, and then I use kelp seaweed extract will also go in there. And then on the off weeks, if I'm not doing like a main foliar sprayed, I might do a soil feed where I'll throw in some humic acid, and I'll use the Enviro Bioplex from
Okay.
Ecologel. I
Mhm.
think it's 22% humic acid, and I think that stuff's really great. So I'll throw that in there, and maybe a little more kelp, and water that into the soil. So it just kind of depends. I really don't have a rigid schedule as far as when I do things. It's kind of just I see the grass, and it's like it looks like it needs this, so I'll throw that in, and 90% of the time it'll help it. So
So it's like you and Justin. So you guys are like lawn whisperers. You kind of look at the grass. And you're like, it needs this. It talks to you, and you're able to
yeah.
apply what it needs to. I got you. Cool. Cool. All right. LG's threatening. He says we're not doing any out to dinner with the wife. We're not giving any freebies until I get back. LG, if you're on, man, I know who you are. I know where you live. So if you win, you'll get whatever it is we're giving away. On that note, it is the 30 minutes have gone by. So we will do now the tan Miramichi green hat.
All right.
So back over to the our giveaway tool. So Alex, you have won, so you're no longer eligible. We'll pick a new winner. Actually, let me refresh this and make sure, see if anyone else came in. So Alex, if you come up again, you're not going to win again, but I want to give everyone else a chance. So I'm just going to reload this, see if we have any new people. And 53, yeah. So we had 5 more. Yeah, cool. All right, so our winner is of the hat, Richard Flynn. Richard, are you in the live stream? Are you present? We're gonna give you a few minutes here to chime in. I didn't recall seeing you tonight, but if you're here, yeah, if you're here, just ping us and say, yeah, I'm here. If not, we'll just do another drawing. So guys, you might have another chance still at this, because I don't think I saw Richard as yet tonight. So it might still be a thing. All right, so this is a good question. He's asking about St. Augustine, but it probably applies to Cool Season Turf and Warm Season Turf about dog urine spots. This is good evening, guys. What can I do to treat dog urine spots in St. Augustine grass, South Texas? I can tell you what Alex does. Alex has a dog. He trains her to urinate in one spot. Like, he's a sacrificial part of the lawn, like a corner part of the lawn where she goes, and that looks like scorched earth.
Smart.
But the rest of the lawn looks pretty good. So if you can train him to do that, what do you?
I was gonna say, my dog Max, when he goes to work with me, he only goes does his business in the native. So there's no problem if he's out there in the native. But obviously at home, he'll go in the grass because there's no really else place for him to go except for the rocks. But yeah, maybe put some humic acid down on it, just to kind of help that soil, kind of dilute that urine, that high nitrogen ammonium in it. And throw some seed and hope it germinates for you.
Yeah, I hope it comes back in. Yeah, I mean, it's to your point. There's not really like a magical silver bullet you can throw down on dog
There
urine
isn't.
to. If you did, you could bottle it, make a lot of money because it's a huge problem. But
Yeah, you'd be a millionaire overnight.
yeah, I would say that. Dog urine spots and mowing, like a bottled mowing and dog urine elimination, spot elimination. I'd be a rich man, but not yet, not yet. All right, so Merrill, I'm still working on it. I'm not sure if anything else could be the Miramichi Green products, but yeah, thanks for the super chat. Just happy Friday, Ron and Demir. Ron, any updates about possible Black Friday sales? Thanks. If anything is going to be the Miramichi Green products, I don't think I'll be able to do the others. I need to reach out to the distributor for the other products and see if they're willing to do something. But it's tough, tough, Merrill. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of margin in lawn care stuff, unfortunately. Let's see. So we got Tom B's question about that. We got the dog urine question, and then Gary Gale says, "Hey, what kind of grass do you have on the golf course? Celebration Bermuda grass is what he has. Gary has Celebration Bermuda. What are you rolling with on
bent grass, putting greens, and then everything else wall to wall is ryegrass, bluegrass mix.
Okay. Well, how did you guys go with bent grass? Is it just that was the best option, or is it like why bent grass?
For cool season climates, that's just the best grass variety for putting greens, for cutting it so shallow, because we'll start the season at like 0.125, and then we'll slowly notch it down, and then mid season will be 0.110 for our high to cut. So about a hundredth of an inch is what we go. And for cool season, it does a really great job. Like I know guys in Texas in the transition zone, they'll use bent grass greens, and that can be a pretty big challenge because it gets pretty mad with that hot, humid weather. But for cool season guys, bent grass is what we use for greens here.
That's the standard.
Yep. Bent grass POA, it's a mix.
Okay. All right. So I don't see Richard, so we're gonna pick another winner here. Switch back over real quick. Okay. So let's see. So Richard does not chime in, so we'll pick another winner again for the tan hat, and that's gonna be Kevin Dansby. Kevin, are you around? If so, bring your purchases to the DJ booth so we can get you your hat. If not, we'll just pick another one. We'll see. All right. So we have a point of celebration here. 2 Shots of Vodka says, "What's going on, Ron? I bought my first gas-powered reel mower from Reel Rollers. Got the Swordsman.
Nice.
Can't wait to cut with it next year." We got to clap it up for that. Congratulations, sir.
That's cool. Very cool.
Very nice. Yeah, Swordman makes a good unit. Do you get any of the interchangeable cartridges for it? 2 Shots of Vodka. Be cool to know about that. But
I've seen the ones with like that verticutter cartridge that they go on. Those are, and they're pretty user friendly as far as changing in and out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I tried the Rerollers loaned me one to do scarification, like I scarify my lawn this year, and it was cool. It's cool. It is convenient to be able to. I think it's like one screw on each side, and the whole cartridge comes out. So super easy to use.
That's neat.
All right. So question about seed prices. Tom V says, Demir, where do you buy seed? Are you finding price increases this year?
Yeah, seed is pretty scarce, especially ryegrass. Pretty scarce, pretty expensive. We use a company called Buffalo Brand Seed. We ordered our seed pretty early. I mean, it was probably last June. We were talking to our director of agronomy, and he had ordered, I think, 7 or 8 pallets of ryegrass seed to be shared between our 2 courses. So it's very expensive and very hard to find. I've seen on Twitter superintendents having their shop maintenance facilities broken into and people stealing seed out of their facilities.
Wow.
Which is, you never want to see that, which is pretty unbelievable. So if you find seed and it's at a good price and it's what you want to use, I would buy it now instead of waiting longer to get it.
Wow. So the part people are actually breaking in to steal seed. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's unbelievable. Wow. Let's see. So it's a question about for Devin. It's about Bermuda grass. Question for Devin: is it true that Bermuda is banned or illegal in Colorado? Tell me it's not so. I can't imagine living anywhere where it's not allowed. LOL.
I don't think it's illegal or banned, but it won't grow. Yeah, too cold. I know there's some courses that have like some trials on it. One of the good friends I'm friends with, the super up in Denver, he's got a couple test trials of Bermuda that does great. He says it comes out of dormancy every year and comes back, but I think for the most part, I'm sure he gives it extra TLC but most part for a homeowner, it's not going to make it through winter and come out of the cold temps, because we'll have days where the lows will be 12 degrees for weeks,
Yeah.
and get into the negatives over the evenings, especially here in the high climates. So I guess that kind of goes back to the one question. I can't remember who asked it about elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Cool season grass, it hardens off and is very hardy for altitude. So
Okay.
not that there's a special blend for it. It just gets used to being in those temperatures. But yeah, we'll have stretches where it's the highs 20 for a week,
Wow.
and then 0 negative for lows.
And the greens, like, is there like, I guess as far as the parts of the course that are most vulnerable to those types of temperatures, is the greens
Is our
or
putting greens. Yep. So our putting greens. So that's what I was. We're doing that right now. We just dimpled, shallow punched our greens and overseeded them with 1.5 pounds per thousand, 0.75 pounds per thousand, 2 directions for that 1.5 pounds, with 2 drop spreaders. And then it was a small, only 1/2 inch at the deepest. So punch, seed, and then we top dressed over the top of it. And then they were finishing top dressing today. And that's about that machine that you showed earlier. It's a hopper and a half per green. So about a skid steer bucket and a half.
with that one?
No, it's the one with the video.
Oh, okay. I got it. That guy.
So yep, that one right there. So we'll when that's incredibly light compared to what we're doing now. He'll use a hopper and a half per green for the first application, and then similar to the next application. So 2 to 3 of those per green right now, and then we'll use a Celsior matting to expose mounds and areas that get desiccated by wind, especially more. And then we'll use green covers, and we'll cover all of that. So sand, matting will get covered by permeable greens covers.
Oh, wow.
And then,
Okay.
believe it or not, a lot of people don't ever think of this. For our area, if we don't have snow cover and the crowns of those plants become dehydrated, we actually go out in winter water with frost-free lines that are below our frost depth in the soil. So we'll blow out the irrigation, and we actually have frost-free hydrants on each greens and then on tees. And we'll water, if we're not getting snow, we'll go out and water greens really heavy just to rehydrate those crowns to combat winter desiccation. And we battle that all year. And there's always spots that wake up and that are just smoked. You'll lift the covers off and you'll look at them, and the green is usually, when you lift those covers off in the spring, you'll have green coming up from the crowns and in the soil base, but you'll have spots that are as white as your wall, and you're like, that's smoked. So then you're already thinking about reseeding those. And then we had a spot on our 11th green, which is in the one picture. It's our most southern facing green. Gets the most sun, gets the most wind. The wind just rips through there, and it's on a mound. So it's just, mounds are hard to keep wet and moist anyways. Water doesn't like inclines. And we had a spot that just got nuked, and I seeded it, wasn't coming in. And then on a closed Monday in early June, I actually sent out the guys, and we sod cutted the green and sod cut it off our nursery green and just replaced the sod that way.
So the snow is actually, it's almost like an insulator and a way of hydrating the turf. So it's actually beneficial. Huh.
Yep.
Interesting. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. So question here. So Lon Dabbler says, I'm here. I guess Lon Dabbler is somebody else, but okay. I'm glad you're here, Lon Dabbler. It says, is simple lawn solution soil loosener the same as liquid aeration? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know either of those products. I'm not sure on that one.
Here, I was going to say, let me see here, Ron. I think I got a picture. I'll send it to you if you want to put it up.
Yeah.
Of what the greens look like when they're actually covered here.
Sure. Yeah. You sent to me. I can make that happen. We have the technology.
The power. Let me see here.
All right. So let's see here. What did I do? I hope I didn't do anything. All right. Nope. Okay, cool. So why did I turn on vanish mode? I don't know what I just did there with Instagram. All right, well, I'll fix it. Okay. This is a good question. So Rob Shot says, my plan, good evening, Ron, Panama City, Florida here. My plan for next season is to dominate the neighborhood with the striping. What would you say is the best height for Empire Zoysia for stripes? California trimmer. Um, So I don't actually have Zoysia, so I can't tell you for sure, but I can tell you that for Bermuda, the sweet spot, in my opinion, is 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch. You can go lower than that, but remember, to get stripes, you have to have something to lay over for the sunlight to hit and to give that really nice stripe action. And this season, when I was mowing at 3/4 at half an inch for most of the season. The lawn looks really good, but the stripes aren't as good as when it's at 3/4 of an inch. So for your Zoysia, I would start there. I would go between 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch and see how the lawn does. That is that is what I would recommend. Okay, swipe up to turn off vanish mode. I don't know. Okay, cool. It's back. All right. Okay, so this is a good question for you, Devin. So what's the current take on humic acid? Seems to be a lot of negatives takes on it. Some people think that humic acids, there's no benefits. Some people say they're the second coming of lawn care. What say you about humic acid?
I like them. We don't use them at the course just because cost effective and just timing for applications. But on my yard, I'll spray them twice a month during the growing months when I'm not doing my main foliar sprays. I think they're great. I like them. Helps with soil structure. Just helps improve your soil profile. I think they're great. I haven't had any negative experiences with them that I wouldn't recommend them. So I am a fan. I'm on the humic acid train.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. And Evie has a question. He says, "How do you deal with worm castings on short reel grass? So if you're cutting really short, how do you deal with worm castings?"
We don't really have much on the course as far as worm castings. We used to get some on the collars, but when the guys would go out to walk mow those, they would just take a dew whip and just knock those castings down before they mow them. So
okay.
Nothing too bad. And worms are actually beneficial. They're natural aeration and help with the soil profile. So
very cool.
Believe it or not, they may seem like a nuisance, but they're actually helpful. Unless they're like cut army worms, then you don't want those.
Then you don't want those. Okay. Cool. I didn't get the picture if you sent it because
I was still looking. I've got like a million photos here on my phone.
No worries. All right. So next up we got Daryl. He says, "Hey guys, is it good to dethatch Bermuda grass? If so, when? Thanks for the awesome live stream for both you guys. So it's good to dethatch Bermuda. Here's the thing. This spring, Daryl, was the first time I dethatched my lawn. It's been verticut one time, like in 2018, and this year was the first time I dethatched it. If you are managing your inputs well, right? So you're not pushing tons of nitrogen in the lawn to where you're getting lots of growth and by as a byproduct creating a thatch problem. I don't know that it's super necessary. Now, here's the thing: is if you have a way to dethatch your lawn regularly, there's probably some benefit. I've not done it on mine. It still does fairly well. So that's my take on it. What do you think, Devin? Do you think that dethatching is, like, I guess if you had a means to do it, something that someone should be doing on their home lawns very often, or what do you think?
Yep. So at the course, we'll verticut. It's same idea. We'll verticut the greens every other week if we can. If time allows, we'll do that. When we'll time that with our top dressing, and it's a shallow, just kind of tickling the surface just to kind of loosen up the grain. But on my home lawn, I'll do an aggressive verticut dethatch in the spring, and then probably once a month I'll just run. I have a Greenworks dethatcher, and I'll run that 2 directions. I'll go down a pass, and then I'll come back on that same pass, and I'll do the front and yard once a month with that, and I have never had any problems. Just kind of pulls up any of that dead matted material that might be down there. And I think we were talking about that a couple weeks ago in a stream where a guy was saying wheel ruts. With my Toro recycler, sometimes I'll get ruts, and it kind of pulls that matted material down and just kind of helps with the grain and kind of just freshens everything up, get a breath of fresh air down into the canopy.
Nice. Very, very cool. Well, so hopefully that helps, Daryl. Alex, you're very welcome. Congrats. And also as well, Kevin, I got your email. I saw you just came through. So congrats on the hat. Scott has a question. He says, how long would you wait to put down pre-emergent after overseeding Bermuda with perennial ryegrass? So perennial ryegrass. So really the question is, Bermuda's the base grass. You put down perennial rye. How sensitive is ryegrass to pre-emergent?
I'd wait at least 3 weeks.
Okay. So 3
3
weeks.
weeks to
So
a month, I bet. Yeah, because seedlings do not like getting blasted with PGR, especially if you're going at like a regular rate. I mean, if you go maybe at a quarter rate for what they say, and I think it's like 0.75 is for ryegrass KBG mix. So if you go maybe at a quarter rate, you might be okay, but I would play it safe and maybe wait 3 or 4 weeks and get a couple mows on it before you spray it.
spray with any kind of pre-emergent. Great question. Great answer. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Christopher has a question about glyphosate on. This is a good one. He says, have you ever used glyphosate to kill unwanted cool season grass that is mixed in with dormant warm season grass? Thinking about trying it in a small area this winter, but need your thoughts. I would not do it, Christopher. I will tell you a story. A neighbor of mine, not too far away, about maybe a pitching wedge away from where my back lawn is, did that very thing. We thought, hey, my lawn's dormant. There's some cool season weeds. I want to get rid of them. And he spot sprayed with glyphosate because glyphosate's safe to spray on dormant Bermuda, right? And then whenever the spring rolled around, lawn comes out of dormancy. What do you think he had? He had a bunch of little UFO sightings all over his lawn. And as hardy as Bermuda is, the lawn didn't really start recovering until the end of the season. So pretty much his lawn looked really unsightly for the entire season, only because he decided to spray glyphosate on the lawn when it was dormant. So I've said this in other videos, but for me, glyphosate, the only places that I would use that are in places where you do not care about killing off plant life. So if you got it like in beds, like a mulch bed, and there's no other plants in there in that mulch bed, you want to use it there, fine. But I am not a fan of using it on turf because, like, for cool season grass, there's so many good options. Like if you get cool season weeds, you can, if you have warm season turf, you can use herbicides that will kill cool season. You can use something like Celsius that will knock those out, not gonna hurt your Bermuda, which is a great option. If you have cool season turf that you want to keep and you have weeds, you can use tenacity. So there's so many options that will not mess up your turf that it's just the only benefit to glyphosate, in my opinion, is that it's cheap. That's the only good side of it. So that's why I wouldn't recommend using it on your lawn at all. I just wouldn't. It's just too risky. Too risky. Unless
I agree.
Devin wants to tell me he's doing it on his lawn, but I don't think so.
No. Only in the rocks is the only place I spray that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So
I was going to say I was able to find that picture. I just sent it to you on.
Cool.
Instagram,
I got it.
And see what it looks like when they're covered.
Good Lord. Yep. I'll work on getting this up here. All right. So a question says, Travel With Me says, what is the best time to level, top dress, and overseed Bermuda in Georgia? Okay. So if you're going to overseed, well, hang on. If you're going to overseed, you need to understand why. But if you say that's something you want to do that too, you want to seed Bermuda with Bermuda for whatever reason, you're trying to do what I did with Arden 15, my big mutt lawn experiment that I'm doing. The time to top dress is when the grass is growing aggressively. So May timeframe is really my favorite time to do it in where I live in Georgia. Now, if you're a little bit north, you may have to wait till June. If you're a little bit further south, you might be able to do it earlier. But May-June timeframe is a good time because the grass is growing aggressively. We're getting free rain, free water to help, just to help the grass bounce back. There's plenty of sunlight. So that is when I'm a fan of doing it, Christopher. But for you guys, it sounds like you guys do top dressing throughout the entire season, but you do it at a much lighter rate, right?
Yep, it's really, really light. Every other week, just through the growing season, May through September, just really light. Every other week, so nothing too crazy.
Okay, yeah. So Christopher, if you're what do I have? Wait, I didn't put your question up there. Yep. So travel with me. Yeah. So yeah, for you in your case, May-June is the time to do it. And I've got a video that shows in excruciating detail how to go about doing it, both using like the manual process or using equipment. If you got a big lawn, I highly recommend equipment because it just makes it easier and actually kind of fun. Yeah, easier. All right, so this is a good one, and not one that I'm going to be much helpful with because I don't have any trees in my lawn or leaf issues. But quick question about mulching leaves. I'm up north and I have 3 mature maple trees and leaves are falling. I heard that mulching too much can suffocate the grass from coming up in the spring. Is that true?
So I don't have many trees at my place either. I do get some leaves that blow in from neighbor's yard, and we don't have much trees on the course here. But in New York, we did have leaves, and we actually had a machine that vacuumed up the leaves. So we didn't mulch those in. We actually manually removed any leaf debris on the course. So I know some guys say it helps, it recycles nutrients back into the yard. But for that, I don't think it would really do much. I would probably just bag them up and mow over them and just remove them.
Gotcha.
Would be my advice.
Sounds good. Okay, so I got the picture here now that Devin sent me of the greens during the winter, so I can get to load up here. So what are we looking at here, Devin? Looks like
yep. So that's the 9th green, and then that's our clubhouse. It sits down behind it.
Okay.
So below that, that's one of the putting greens. And the cover goes off enough that it protects our collars as well. So there'll be it's kind of hard to make out, but you can kind of see where it kind of dips down in the center of the green there. There's kind of a little bit of undulation. So there's straw matting on those ridges. So sand, straw matting, Celsior mat. It's like a wood fiber mix that we use to cover those more exposed areas that dry out quicker. And then we'll put these permeable greens covers over the top of them. And we do these. There's a couple of greens that we don't cover that kind of sit down in holes and pockets and are kind of protected just by their surroundings. But for the majority, I think there's about 15 greens out of the 18 that are on the course that we cover. And if you look closely, just in the kind of middle there, past the kind of false back of the other green, you can see the 18th green down below covered kind of that same color.
Cool. Yeah, I see. And these covers will stay on for how many months? Is it from now until?
So we're going to blow out next week, starting on Monday. So Monday, Tuesday, we'll blow the course out, and then our landscape manager, he'll blow out the grounds. And then while we're doing that, I'll have the guys out, and we'll be doing the matting, and then we'll be covering greens next Thursday. And then it's just pretty much weather and Mother Nature dependent. They can come off as early as March or mid-March, somewhere in there. So they're on there all winter. And then, like I said, we'll just winter water over the top of them just to hydrate the greens and give them some water.
Nice. All right. Very, very cool. It's quite a process.
Yeah.
All right. So Jim Carson says, I would like to contain my new to grow Bermuda lawn. Can I dig a trench 2 feet down and put plastic root barrier and then rocks mixed with rock salt on the other side?
Let me read that again.
Yes, I guess he's doing a Bermuda lawn. He wants to keep it contained, so he's trying to put a physical barrier to prevent the rhizomes from
spreading out.
From spreading. Mm-hmm. Some kind of barrier would. Well, I don't know if plastic is going to do it, man. Unless it's really thick, because Bermuda's will probably eventually get through that.
I was going to say, I don't know about Bermuda, but rhizomes, I would say, no matter what your trench is, at some way it's going to find a way to creep up over the top of it and get out of there anyways, would be my guess.
Yeah.
It's a good thought in theory. I mean, when they build greens, they'll do that. We have a plastic wrap that goes around the greens profile to keep the bent grass from growing out, but over time
it gets out.
It'll eventually find its way.
Yeah. So I mean, if you had I'm not sure how the best way to describe it, like this metal, it's almost like a metal flashing that's if you have that, what I've seen work with flower beds is where they will take like almost like a metal plate and drive that into the ground. It still sticks up, 3 inches, 4 inches above the surface.
It's like a physical.
It's like a physical barrier that you can edge against. Like that can work, but but just having it underground is not going to work. It'll run right over that. The stones run over that. So yeah, it's one thing with Bermuda where you be careful where you put it in, because once you put it in, you good luck getting rid of it. So there's that. All right. So MPO2 says, happy Friday, Ron. My backyard is made up of mostly Tifway 419, but I have some large areas of common Bermuda. Do you have any recommendations of how to promote 419 to take over the common? I don't know. I've heard there's supposedly a selective herbicide that will kill common but not Tifway, but I don't know that really is a thing. As far as making one, I can say this: most hybrids can tolerate being cut shorter than common Bermuda does. Like it thrives at lower cutting heights than common. If you keep it really short, that could help some. But as far as a way to eliminate common Bermuda in a hybrid lawn, I'm not aware of any easy ways to do that. I'm not sure. I mean, I know it's warm season turf, but I'm not sure, Devin, if you've known any tips on that.
No, yeah, I'm not too sure about that myself.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know of that because there might be a way, but I've not seen it done. I've not heard of if you Google it, it's not really a most people say no can do, but yeah. Sorry, I have a better question for you, but at any rate, cool mower. Looks like you got some hardware there. You got like a what is
Yeah,
that?
John
Double?
Deere, yeah,
Yeah, John Deere. Got two
the
like a gang.
triplex.
Yeah,
I
trifle.
was
Yeah,
gonna say, I bet you there's probably a triplex that sits or another reel that sits back underneath that driver's seat. Be my guess.
nice. That's a nice setup
Nice.
there. Nice equipment you're working with there, man. Okay, he says, okay, Justin Cummings says, every time I top dress, I get earthworm castings that get the lawn back bumpy. Do golf courses experience the issue? If so, what's the best way to deal with earthworm castings?
Yeah, we don't really deal with earthworm castings too much. Like I was saying earlier, a couple spots we just knock them down with dew whips, knock their castings down, and just continue on with the day. There's not a whole lot you can do. I know there's some products that you can spray for them, but I would, if I'm a betting man, they're probably not registered for homeowner use.
Right.
So there's probably not a whole lot you can do to combat them.
Yep. And they are a good sign of health. I mean, they are good for the lawn. Other than they're
Yeah,
unsightly,
yeah.
they're good. It's a good thing. But yeah. All right. Lindrick Butler says, "Hey guys, another great show. Tonight I'm in Snellville, Georgia. I just cut my grass for the last time this season. I noticed damp areas, moss, and fungus. Any recommendation on fungicide and drainage solutions?" So
I guess.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Ron.
Mm-mm.
I was going to say, I guess first question is, what kind of fungus do you think you're dealing with? Because that'd be your number one starter. And then for moss, yeah, drainage, you'd want to help with that. And I think carfentrazone is labeled. It's a herbicide. I'm pretty sure you can use that on your home lawn. Carfentrazone, I think is what it's called. Quicksilver is the name for it. We use that on the course on greens for moss control, and that helps. But don't mark my words because I'm not sure if that's labeled for homeowners use. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm not 100% sure. Carfentrazone, I believe, is the name.
Yeah, I have to look here and see. I'm not sure if it's labeled. I have to keep looking.
But iron also, if you spray iron on moss, will also knock it back. And then a little hidden gem from the golf business, Dawn dish soap. If you mix 5 ounces in a gallon of water and spray that on the moss, that will also kill it. So I don't know if you guys knew that, but Dawn dish soap will also control moss.
Nice. I did not know that.
And then, yep. And then if you just figure out what kind of fungus you have, and then you can do your research and read the label for what proper control you would use to apply for that.
Yeah, it looks like that product Quicksilver is labeled for residential turf. It says commercial and residential, cool and warm season grass. So there you go. I'll send you a link to that here, Lindrick. I'll just put it here. It's on Do My Own has it. So at Lindrick, there you go. It's really long. Let me send you a shorter one. Actually, I can't paste that. So yeah, give me a second here. I'll get you a link for it because that's crazy long. All right.
Yeah, that's a great product. So if you can get it, I would use it for moss.
Okay. Awesome. So the next question we have up is from Gary Kellett Jr. He says, "Hey Ron, I got a new driveway this summer and I put down new dirt and black beauty grass from Jonathan Green early fall. I noticed it's very light in green. Is this a problem or will it darken? Isn't black beauty isn't that like a cozy season grass? I don't think
I was going to say, I'm not sure what variety that is. Black beauty. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. Will it darken? You said it's very light green. Is this a problem or will it darken? I mean, I can't see it's going to change color too much. Like the color you got is the color it's probably going to be.
Probably comes up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to change.
Because I know with KBG, it'll kind of sprout and pout, but it's usually pretty much the color it germinates is pretty much the color. You might get it a little darker with some spray applications, but not that you'd be really correct in lime green, unless there's that soil that you planted is just really nitrogen deficient and it's just really struggling to feed.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not. So yeah, I mean, just a good point. So maybe whenever next season when you start fertilizing again, just start feeding it and seeing if it darkens up some, maybe some iron as well. But the color shouldn't change dramatically. I wouldn't think so. All right. Chujasa Vaca says he got the Scarifier and the Verticutter. I'm thinking about getting the brush, but I truly don't know the benefit of it. Maybe y'all can help me understand what it may do other than brush the grass. Yeah, so my understanding is that if you top dress, it's a way of working the material in. It's a way of working the sand in. That's a benefit. I don't know how you'd use it outside of that. Do you guys use brushes on your greens at all when you guys top dress, or?
So when we top dress, we'll come in with a diamond drag brush and we'll brush it in that way. And then it's kind of an off topic, but just brush and turf just made me think about it. A lot of the equipment we have, like for walk mowers and triplexes, there's a brush attachments that sit out before the roller, and those brushes will go and it'll stand that turf up, and then you just get a cleaner, tighter cut.
Gotcha.
So
yeah. So that could be a benefit of it. 2 shots. I know with the Swordman, it's not. I know what Devin's talking about, but yeah, in that case, I think it's just for top dressing because it isn't. There's not an attachment that has the brush and the cutting head afterwards. Not with the Swordman that I'm aware of, anyway.
I mean, yeah, that brush could be used for spring or fall cleanup if you're trying to just get stuff off the canopy. You want to blow your reels up, you could use it for that. That'd be a good option.
That's a good point.
Or if you just want to kind of go up and just kind of give the grass a tickle and kind of stand it up and then mow it afterwards, that's a good option too.
Cool. Yeah, very often. You mentioned Lawn Whisperer. Let me run down here. Actually, I got a super chat first, and then we'll show you the Lawn Whisperers in the house. So from Mr. Noob, he says, love the lawn talk. I bought Humic Max Fertilizer you recommended. Weather is still warm. Can I apply it when I get it, or should I wait till spring? Okay. Is the grass still growing? That's the question I would say, Mr. Noob. If it's still growing and you want to do a light app, yes. But if it's not growing, like if you're cutting it and nothing's coming off, then no. Then you want to hang on to it till spring. Yeah, I would say wait till, because it's November, so I'd be surprised if it's still growing well. And your buddy's actually in the house. Devin, Lawn Whisperer's in the house.
Nice.
He's coming to hang out, so that's
cool.
That's really cool. Well, thanks for coming home out, Justin. Thanks. Hope you are doing well, sir.
Yeah, he's got some good videos on his channel for some cool season guys.
Yeah. And in general, a nice guy. Yep. Firefighter, shoots guns. So
yep, I think so. Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
I like him. Yeah. All right. So Jerry Espinoza is up next. He says, I have a total of 6,000 square feet. What size reel mower would you recommend and brand? Huh. I mean, I like Toros. Yeah, I like a Toro. I mean, I would get a Greensmaster if it's me. 6,000 square feet is not ginormous. It depends on how wide stripes you want. Like I like the 1600 because you get like that 26-inch wide cut. But to 6,000 square feet, you go narrower too if you want narrower stripes. I mean, kind of.
I'd go with the Toro Greensmaster if you're going to get one.
Yep. Yeah. So either Greensmaster, anyone you can get. So as far as that's a good question. The flex cutting heads or the fixed heads. Do you guys use any fixed head cutting units on the course at all, or they're all flex?
Fixed heads are on tees only, and then we use flex heads on greens.
Okay, I got you. Because the tee boxes are all flat, so you get that better cut.
Flat,
but the green would be bad. It would be a resume generating event potentially. All right. So we got Michael R is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, what Bermuda seed would you go with Tifway 419 or Arden 15, and why? I'm going to convert the front yard this spring and wondering which has better results. Looks Middle Georgia area. Okay, so if it were me, if it's between Tifway 419 and Arden 15, Tifway 419 you can get in sod, and that is what I would say to go with because it's gonna be way easier. You're gonna get it installed. It's less headache. Like doing Bermuda from seed is hard. It's hard and it's expensive from a watering standpoint. Arden 15 looks pretty awesome, but it's kind of your call. If you want to say that, hey, I install the grass, it's going to look great, and you're not going to have to worry about a month-long process where you're going to get some germination in some areas not. Then Tifway is what I'm going to say to go with, because Tifway you can get inside. Arden 15, to my knowledge, is seed only, so that would be my recommendation for this spring. Very cool. All right, Shelby Amos says, coming from you live from the rock. Says, what should I do to feed my soil since I have a 4 to 6 inches of them of rocks across my 100 square foot lawn? Soil test shows basically 0 in every micronutrient. So yeah, so I know Shelby. So Shelby's a person where they built they built their house. And there's tons of rocks all throughout the lawn.
That's no fun.
Yeah. How to feed it? I don't know. I mean, maybe you have to.
Yeah, I mean, probably if you got rocks and your roots aren't growing past that, you're probably gonna have to spoon feed it on a bi-weekly, weekly basis just to give it what it needs. If your
Mhm.
roots aren't driving deep, that would be my best advice. Or remove the rocks, but that's probably not totally doable either.
Yeah. Yeah. Remove the rocks. Yeah, because it's that'll be your best. But yeah, to his point, if you got not so great soil, then foliar apps are going to be your way
You're,
to go.
you're fine. Yep.
Yep. So Alex B says, are carbon and or microbial package applications too cost prohibitive for golf courses? Does Devin use either of those types of products on his own lawn at home?
Carbon and microbial packages we don't really use on the course, just for cost.
Mm-hmm.
But at home, I have used some carbon products, and then I have used some microbial products here and there. The granular fertilizer I have has some microbial properties to it, which is good. So it'll get that once a month. Well, I guess actually, the granular product we use at work, the organic product does have some microbial benefits to it, so it'll get that in the spring and fall for fairways, rough, and tees.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing that would go in like spray tanks or anything.
Gotcha. Yep. Makes sense. Because again, it's just too much to too much area, I imagine. All
Yep.
right. Yeah, so Shelby's saying I'm trying to load up on all this lawn stuff now so inflation next year doesn't double everything. It's a good plan, man. If you could get your fertilizer, just keep it somewhere dry, you're good to go. It's
Be set. Yep.
yeah, you got a fellow is it so I guess someone from Colorado. Is a Coloradan? Is that real?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Coloradans. Yep.
Colorado. He says, hello, Devin. Nice to see a fellow Colorado grassman. I'm just an hour
Nice.
south of the Springs. So cool.
Oh yeah, I guess he's probably down in Pueblo. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, you didn't win Green M. It says, okay, so Gary Keller says, if you know you have a grub problem, is it a good idea to dethatch your grass?
I would say yeah, because I think a lot of grubs kind of like to live and breed in that thatch layer before they go down and get your roots. So it certainly wouldn't hurt. Just diluting your thatch and getting rid of thatch organic matter is just a good agronomic practice to begin with. So I would do that. I mean, you'll see multiple benefits from it, and it'll help with your grub problem.
Very cool. All right, guys. So it's hat giveaway time. I waited like 10 minutes over. Let me do another one for you guys really quick. We're running down to questions. I want to make sure you guys get a chance. So Devin, what say you? We have the gray or the navy blue. Which one should we do?
Let's do navy blue.
Navy blue. Going with the navy. All right. Next up, so let's go down to our comment picker tool, and for the navy blue, the winner is Michael Selly. Michael, are you in the house? I didn't recall seeing you tonight, but I'll put you in here for that. Michael Selly, and just hang on, guys. If he doesn't come in, we will draw again here in 5 minutes. I know we are running low, and I just want to make sure we get these stuff given away. All right, this is a good one. This is a good question I get about tree issues. So Erna Joe says, what do I do about a large oak and pine trees that have their roots above ground?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a whole lot you can do about it. It's just kind of is. I mean, you could try to bring in topsoil and kind of try to cover them up and then reseed over them. But I think as far as removing them, I don't think there's a lot you can do that wouldn't negatively affect the tree, especially that close to the base is usually where you would get those. So I think your best bet is just kind of bring material in, cover them up, and then overseed over the top of them and try to get grass established so you don't have those exposed would be my advice.
Yep. That's a good tip. That or big mulch bed or something. Yeah, or just deal with not having grass.
Yeah,
there.
or that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I do not see Michael Selly. So we're going to go back and we're going to draw another person, and that is I'll see the winner is Tambo. I don't see you. We'll see if you're here. I don't recall seeing you as well, but we'll give you a few minutes to chime in. Hitambo. Okay. So the next question is, I had to go nuclear. Alex B. I had to go nuclear with the glyphosate on a few spots in my yard last season that had Dallas grass creeping in from my neighbor's badly neglected lawn. Just got tired of digging it out. That's a good one. So is Dallas grass a thing in Colorado? Do you have to deal with it all?
No.
Not really.
No, yeah, we'll get buffalo grass, crabgrass, rough stock bluegrass, but yeah, no dolly grass.
It does, guys. Yeah, it's nasty stuff. All right. Wind Chariot is in the house. He says, "Happy Friday, guys. I would like to know if Bermuda grass can get too thick. By the end of the summer, my lawn was so thick my outlet lawnmower floated on top. It can. Yeah. So if you're not doing anything to thin it out, that's good. That's probably a good argument for dethatching, like what Devin does monthly. That will help. They'll help thin it out. Also, Wind Chariot, managing like your nitrogen, like make sure that you're not going heavy. Because I know with us we think that some nitrogen is good, more is better, but it really isn't. Like you really want to give the grass just what it needs and no more. So that is something you can do to help prevent the lawn getting too thick. But really, your best bet is going to be removing it. So start doing dethatching. Or but this year we have to worry about it. So next year you can have a choice. You can either dethatch monthly or also just really back off on how much you're feeding the lawn to prevent it from getting super dense. Very cool. All right. LG says, Demir, Colorado is home of the Pawnee Butt Seed Company.
Yep.
Good people to buy seed from.
Yep, I have heard of them. I haven't bought anything from them personally, but I know a lot of guys who do buy seed from them. They're a very good company. So that's very cool.
Cool. Yep. All right. And Shelby says, I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. When do we need to start applying PGR at the beginning of the season? Okay, so we'll be doing it in Georgia in March. That's when the window really, when people start doing it, or when the lawn care services tend to do it. Last year I did an experiment where I did it like early February, like super early, and it worked out great. We did a full rate app on a neighbor's lawn. He had no issues with weeds whatsoever. So when it comes to pre-emergent, I'm of the opinion that a bit early is better than late, right? Because the whole idea is to prevent you from having problems with weeds in the first place, but a good, safe time frame, because Fort Worth and us we're somewhat similar as far as how far north we are. Early March is a good safe bet, Shelby. What about for you guys? You guys don't do pre-emergent, or do you do pre-emergent on your home lawn, Devin, at all, or not?
No,
really?
I've never used pre-emergent on my home lawn. I was going to say I'm not sure if he means plant growth regulator or pre-emergent.
Plant growth. I'm playing plant growth. So PGR. I'm sorry. So in that case, thank you. So no I start PGR. I start PGR late April, early May. So the end. So April, May time for me is when I start PGR. Actually, May is my first PGR app of the season. That was for this year, and I do that all the way through. September is a question mark as to whether or not September I do PGR, depending on how the grass is growing. But definitely May all the way through August is definitely PGR, and then September is kind of a question mark. And for you, what do you guys do?
Just good rule of thumb, just when it's actively growing. So yeah, we'll start May when things are like really growing and have woken up, and we're actually collecting quite a bit of clippings, and then we'll do that. The same thing like September, October, and it's just kind of depends if it needs it. If it great, we'll spray it. If it doesn't, we won't.
You won't. Yep.
And then kind of same thing for my yard here.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. I don't think that Hit Matumbo is in the house. We're gonna pick another person. Hopefully someone when you guys win here, man. All right. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys a chance. I'm sure some people have joined in. Let me refresh this really quick and re-add. And if your name comes up again, you can't win twice. So don't so let's see. 55 and Dwayne Hopkins. Dwayne, are you present? I think Dwayne is here.
I was going to say, yeah, I've seen a couple of his.
Yeah, questions. I think Dwayne is here. So I think, Dwayne, you are the winner. If you were here, you're of the navy blue Ron Henry hat. So I'll put you in here for the navy hat. LG is probably flipping over because he's always he doesn't win stuff, but he does. He wins every now and then. All right. So congrats on that, Dwayne. Send me your mailing address to ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I will get the hat out to you, sir. Appreciate you. All right. Okay. Next up, Alex is saying they sell metal barriers for the ground that can contain even invasive bamboo. Wow, that's gonna be good stuff then.
That's aggressive.
Yeah. My neighbor needed to get some for that purpose, and it worked really well. Would think it would contain Bermuda. Yeah, because bamboo, once you put that in, it's probably worse than Bermuda as far as being a.
I was gonna say, man, that stuff that grows like 3 or 4 feet in a week. I think that stuff's just. Yeah,
crazy. Very nasty stuff. Very nasty. Okay. So this is a good one. It's not a fungicide I'm familiar with, but one for you, Devin. It says LG says tifofenate methyl, a
Oh,
fungicide, has been rumored to
yep,
have a negative effect on
thiophanate.
earthworm.
That's a good question. I'd have to look into that. I've never heard of it affecting earthworms negatively. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I use that on my home lawn here. I'll rotate between Cleary's 336F, which is the active ingredient, thiophanate methyl, and then azoxystrobin and propiconazole. And I've seen earthworms in my yard a couple weeks after spraying that stuff. So that's a good question. I'll have to Google that and see if there's any research or anything on that.
Very cool. Appreciate you, LG. That's a good one.
That's good. Yeah, good question.
So highly combustible react says, I clicked to see what was so interesting about yard care. 30 minutes later, I'm sucked in and intrigued. I don't even have a yard. I'm subbed up. Very cool stuff. Learning has occurred. That's the thing, man. Lawn care it's a lot of fun, man. It's like it's a cool hobby to get into.
It really is. You try something one year and it doesn't work, and try something else the next year, and usually you'll make a plan, and then by the time you're done with the year, you're on plan X, Y, and Z, and just going with what works.
Yep. Very true. All right. So Matt N says, what's the latest in the season to apply fall fert to KBG to have any effect? Minimum temperature.
I would say you'd want your air temps to be anywhere from 60 to 50, soil temps 45 to 50. Just if you got new growth and new shoots coming up, like I said earlier, if your grass is actively grown and you're going out and mowing and you're just getting not necessarily a full basket, but just some clippings, then it's still growing, then I would apply it. But if you go out there and there's no new growth, no new nothing, then I wouldn't apply. I'd wait till the spring.
Great stuff. Great answer. We got Alexander Lee, the man, the myth, the legends in the house. What's going on, guys? Alex is my next door neighbor. Yep. He's the
very cool
star of the Fix My Ugly Lawn series. This is a great question for you, Devin. This is a good one. He says, what sort of education / schooling is needed to work in positions similar to yours in the golf course groundskeeping and management? That's a good one.
So, yep, that's a really great question. So a lot of clubs and courses require superintendents and even assistant superintendents to have a or a 2-year degree from an accredited university. I got mine from Colorado State University. It was an environmental horticulture, turfgrass management concentration. That was a 4-year degree. And then a lot of times you'll need like intern experiences working at clubs before you can get into like assistant superintendents or superintendent roles. And then a lot of clubs, you'll need 5 to 6 years as an assistant before they'll hire you as a superintendent, just for the experience. So there's a whole science behind it besides just mowing grass, which is pretty fun.
Nice. So it sounds like there's a lot of practical training in addition to like brick and mortar training in school as well to be able to do it.
Yep. So like you think about these clubs and places, like I have a buddy who's one of the head guys for the Denver Broncos, and he maintains their field. So you think about it, they got guys who maintain those fields, and they have to know what they're doing, because you get players going out there and they're getting injured all the time. Chances are it's because the field's not maintained properly, or for golf course superintendents, you're maintaining $1 million properties that are highly invested in, and they don't want them dying, and they want them to maintain good. So
right. So they want someone that knows that, has the book knowledge, but also a lot of practical experience, has been there, done it.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Very, very, very cool. He says, that's a good one here. So 2 Shots of Vodka says, thanks for all the advice. Here's a question. What's something different we're both doing next season? So what are you planning on doing different next season that you did not do this season?
That's a good question. I think I'm going to oversee the backyard with ryegrass and kind of try to get it more similar to my front yard, because the front yard is a million times better than the backyard, which is good because it's the front yard, so people actually see it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to overseed with ryegrass, probably 10 to 12 pounds per thousand. I'll probably do that in the spring, and then maybe we'll see how it looks in the springtime. We'll see if we do more, and then we'll see. I always do a bunch of research during the winter as far as what products I want to use. I always find new stuff that's on the markets, or guys are using different stuff, and I'll be like, oh, I wonder how that works. I'm going to see if I can get my hands on that. So, So it's a different program every year, I should say.
I could see that. Yeah.
Like I might use Ron's your kelp product. I might order some of that and see how that works. So
yeah. I mean, for next year, what am I doing differently? I'm saying Alex and I have a pact that we are not going to top dress the lawns next year. So like it's been a thing like for the last few years where we've been top dressing every single year. So next year we're planning to not do it. I don't know if that's really going to happen. I'm just saying that now because when when May rolls around, we'll think, maybe it's a light one. One thing I want to try out, if I can get my hands on a dethatcher or like a power rig, something like what you guys are using with the Earthway, I want to try out like monthly dethatching and seeing what difference it makes in my lawn, if any. Because that's a question I get, and I haven't done it to be able to say for sure.
I think it helps a lot. I think it's pretty beneficial. You just kind of loosen that up and you let things breathe a little bit and it pulls out some of that dead material that chokes stuff out. And then I always think about it too, that you're trying to get those products down and in, and kind of sometimes it'll get binded up in those different layers of matting. So you pull that stuff out and then it's ugly for a couple days. And I'll usually try to time it with a foliar feed and it'll bounce back pretty quick. And then I'm always like, oh, what am I doing? But then a week later, I'm like, wow, it looks 100 times better than it did. So
before, yeah. It's got to get worse before it gets better.
Exactly.
Very cool. Yeah. So Gary's telling so Black Beauty is a type of tall fescue grass mix. Regarding my driveway, I'm outside of Chicago. Did I miss part of his question?
I was going to say, I remember him asking it. We weren't sure what variety of grass that was, but I can't recall what his actual question was now.
Yeah, I saw it. You mentioned he had a question about grubs. He says, okay, about the he says, I just got a new driveway this summer and put down new dirt and Black Beauty grass seed from Jonathan Green. Okay, so new driveway.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember.
And I notice it's very light. Is a problem, or will it darken? I think the answer still stands. Not sure if it's going to. I mean,
I would just hang tight through the winter months and then just go to your regular feeding program when things waking back up and see if that helps. Put a little iron on it. That should help. Maybe some macronutrients. You could always do a soil test. See if you have any deficiencies in your soil. Try that.
I like that.
You could pull cores now and see what you might need for the springtime.
Yeah, definitely. It's good advice. All right, Donald Burrell says, hey, Ron, what's up, Lawn Academy in the house. I had a great season this year, picking up my Out at Liberty for next season. That's awesome. I got to clap it up for that. Congrats. He says, what grass type does Devin have? How to cut, and does he reel? He's answered this question like 3 times tonight, but I'm sure he'll answer it one more time for you guys.
Yep. So rye, KBG mix in the front, and then the backyard's 100% KBG. I rotary mow with a Toro recycler, and it's about 2 inches is what I keep my high to cut at.
Nice. There you go. And just so you know, Donnell, you can take a look at his grass. It looks pretty incredible in my mind. Look at that. That's clean. I mean, I don't care who you are. I mean, that looks good. It's on point. He's doing some work there. All right. Winding down. Lindsay Butler says, during the Bermuda dormant season, is there anything I can do to get rid of cool season grass, i.e. POA? I applied Pre-Emergent in September. Certainty will kill POA, Lindrick, as will, so if you want like a foliar spray, you can use Certainty, or you can use like Imazaquin. So Image, you can get that at your local Home Depot. You can get that. That will also kill POA. It's going to take a while. It's slow. Image is slow working, but it's a good option for getting rid of it. But yeah, either one of those should do the trick. You can either do do Certainty. With that one, you're going to want to use a surfactant with it. If it's, again, assuming you have a lot, or Image is probably the easier option. Make sure you water it in, and that will do the trick. Just be patient, because you look at it in a week later, it's not going to change. It's about week 2.5 to week 3 is when it will start yellowing and dying off. So something to keep in mind.
Cool.
All right, let's see what else we got. So Genny says he sent stops. Says good evening from Georgia. Well, good evening, Randy. This is a good one. When Cherry says soil test now or wait till spring. I'm a fan of. Here's the thing. I've been soil testing every 3 months because I like having the data. Because you know why? Because a lot of times when people say, well, how fast does lime have an effect on pH? And I'm like, if I'm only testing once a year, it's hard to really answer that. So I'm not saying you guys need to do that, but I do it because I started doing it last year, and it's cool to have the data. I would say if it's the first time soil testing your lawn, like say you've never done it before, doing one in the spring, doing all your apps, and doing one in the fall to see how your apps, like how the soil changed, if at all, from all of them, I think is valuable. And then you can go to like annually if you want, then after that. If you want to do one now, you can, because really in Georgia, your soil is not going to really change very much between the spring or between now and the spring. So in other words, if you were to do a soil test now, right? The benefit of doing one now is if you did one now and say your pH was low, so your soil you wanted to raise that. Doing it now allows you some time to add lime to bring those levels up. If you do it now and it says, hey, your macros are really low, but your lawn's already going dormant, you're really not going to do anything about it till spring anyway, because you don't want to be putting fertilizer on the lawn now. So if it's me, I would probably do it now, because it's not gonna hurt anything. It's not gonna hurt to have results. I'm not sure, Devin, do you have any thoughts or what you?
No, yeah, I'd agree with that. We like at the course, we do all our soil testing in the fall, but that's mostly just because we build our agronomic program and calendars throughout the winter, and then we order everything we need in the spring.
Yep. Cool. Very cool. So, yeah. So there you go. So he figures out what's broken and then knows, and it kind of helps set your program for the spring, I would imagine, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right. Derek says, I will be putting down Celsius this fall in my common Bermuda to kill off my spotty fescue, but I have. Well, we're putting down growth regulator next season to prevent Bermuda from filling in the bare spots. No, not really. No. PGR, it doesn't. I mean, it prevents or slows top growth, but the grass still grows. It still spreads laterally. I'm not sure if you experience the same thing with your ryegrass, Devin, but for Bermuda, that's what we tend to see.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, lots of lateral spread. Yeah, it's Michael. This is the person that has the golf course. So yeah, I'm not sure what he has. It looks like a green there. Michael Chafin. What's up?
I was just
Michael.
we've chatted, him and I, in the live chat before. I think he's in Florida, I believe. So yeah, cool. Very cool.
Yeah, Michael. So thanks for coming to hang out, and we are winding down. This is a good one. Tom V says, how much do golf courses depend on soil test results to determine the upcoming fertilizer program requirements?
100%.
100%, right?
Yep. Every year it's a rotation of holes. So one year it'll be a set of different holes. The next year it'll be a different set of holes. But it's tees, fairways, and greens. And it's about, I'd say 10 to 12 plugs from each area. We have bags that we take. So it's Brookside Laboratories is where we send our stuff to. So they send us bags and we fill it up to the line on the bags that they want. So we'll do that for, I think it's 6 holes that it'll alternate year to year. But yeah, each spring we'll do our samples and we'll send them off, and then we'll get them back, and then we'll see what we need to do. Like this year, our test came back awesome. And the only thing we need to do is a little bit of potassium on our T-Dex, and we're gonna split that. They recommended 5 pounds per 1,000. We're just gonna do 2.5 spring and fall, and that was our only recommendations. And then obviously we'll keep on with our regular fertility program.
Very cool. Very cool. Nice. Yeah. So, because given the thing I always say, right? I mean, some people say soil testing is necessary. Some people say it's a waste of time. I look at it as like it's the answers to the test, especially in the arena you guys play in. Like the stuff you guys buy, you buy at scale. You buy a lot of it. It's expensive, so you don't want to be guessing as far as what you're applying to the soil.
And then they'll give us their recommendation. So 5 pounds per 1,000, we know exactly what the acreage of that is. So we'll do the math, and then that's the exact amount that we'll order.
Nice. Very, very cool. LG has a question. Says, at Dmer, what have you found to be the best way to combat summer stress complex in cool season lawns?
Just keeping them happy. Just keeping with like a regular fertility program, not like overdoing it. You don't want to be dumping a pound of nitrogen down in June, July, and August. But if you're able to spoon feed them, maybe give it 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen every other week. If you're especially if you're bagging your clippings, because you're not recycling that bag back in. I bag my clippings, so I'll give it 1/10 of a pound every other week, because I'm removing that anyways. And then just make sure you're giving it a low dose to a medium dose of micronutrients, just to help it, and then some kelp, wetting agents, things like that, just to help it along. Anything you can do, just like when you get sick. You take medicine to help yourself feel better, and same thing for the lawn during the stressful months.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, great Great stuff. It says, Alex B says, looking at the size and speed of NFL players and how physical football is, I would think maintaining a real grass NFL field takes a ton of work. I think so.
It does. It's actually funny. I've talked to my buddy about that because I think sports turf management is pretty cool. I mean, I always joke with him. I'm like, you guys have it easy. You take care of a rectangle, and I've got 64 acres of weird fairways and odd shapes. And your field's only used once a week. So I always give him a hard time for that. But yeah, they'll really, especially on bye weeks, they'll do a ton of work, and I know here they use a ryegrass mix. So they'll do a bunch of overseeding, and it's actually pretty cool. I actually got a tour of it when I was at CSU, and they have a heating system that's in their soil. So they'll run hot water through their fields, and I'm sure a lot of cool season places like that. So if you're ever wondering how an NFL field in like Chicago or Colorado is green during the middle of winter, they have a heating system in the soil that keeps those soil temps up, so the grass continues to grow. So nice. And then obviously you need that too if you're overseeding to get your seed to germinate. And then they'll use grow lights and grow blankets and things like that. So it's a lot of work. It's a different game, but it's pretty interesting and pretty cool.
Now, doesn't Augusta do something similar to that? They have like a way to raise temperature, lower temperature. I mean, they've got some kind of underground system as well.
I don't know about their like heating system for that. I know they have 3 separate irrigation systems that are all operational. The superintendent I worked for in New York was an intern at Augusta before he went to Long Island, and he was telling me a bunch of cool stories about there. But I don't know about that, but I know they have 3 working irrigation systems that they have, which I don't know, take your pick, when they decide they want to use. So which is pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
But I'm sure they use grow blankets and covers and things like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have the ability to use grow lights and stuff to help things germinate and pop better. I mean,
grow lights. Explain that. Is it light bulbs at a certain Kelvin, or is it like what? How does that actually?
I'm not exactly sure how it works. I've just seen like pictures of guys. Like I think the Chiefs use it. I've seen their head guy will tweet about it. They'll roll and I know like a lot of like Premier League soccer clubs will use them on their pitches over in the UK.
Nice.
And they'll just roll them out. And I think it just keeps things going and keeps things popping, because I'm sure just trying to get things to grow and germinate and look good for their next week.
Yep.
But that's a good question. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure. I think to a degree, I've read about it a little bit. It kind of just mimics that like good natural sunlight that the grass really likes to grow under. So
it extends the day essentially in those areas.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And Michael, thanks for that, man. He says, simazine. Yeah. Simazine will also kill POA. Yeah. So simazine and mazaquin, those are either one of those will do the trick. Mr. Noob says, still growing, mowing every 4 days. I'm going to put some headlights on my California trimmer for some moonlight mowing. So I'll throw it down. Yeah. So if it's still growing, go for it, man. Nice. All right, guys, we're gonna do the last hat, and then I will, we'll try and get out of here so we can give Devin back some of his evening. It is this. We have the two-tone, so it's navy, bill, and I guess gray. So we'll go over to the comment section now. We'll see who's gonna be our winner. So Dwayne, you got the navy blue hat, and the winner for this one is Dimitri Metsopoulos. So Dimitri, I saw you in here earlier. Hopefully you're in here now. But if you are, you won the hat. So yeah, I'll make a note here of that for you, and just hit me up and I will get it sent out. Paulus. I am butchering your spelling of your name, but I'm sure you'll get it. It'll work out. Awesome. Very, very cool, guys. So that's pretty sweet. So, I mean, I guess anything else, any other advice, any sage words that you would leave the audience with? So for cool season guys, and gals that are about getting their lawns, want to get their lawns looking good. Any advice you'd give them, like some easy tips to like really get a great lawn, not crazy amounts of work. Like, what would you say is the secret to getting a great lawn?
Yeah, I would say the big thing is just be patient and trust the process. I mean, it's funny. I'm sometimes not the most patient person, which is ironic because I grow grass and the grass doesn't really care about your patience. It'll take its time, but you just got to be patient and trust the process and know what you're doing to help it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, then you try it. There's always something else to try, and mow as much as you can, and yeah, just enjoy the process and learn as you go. That'd be my biggest thing.
Yep, I agree. I could not say it better. Yeah, to trust the process, realize it's never always going to be perfect, and
Yep.
patience. Like,
And then when you do, oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when you're perfect and you love it, take pictures of it and enjoy it while it's there, because probably in 2 weeks you're
Not
going
gonna
to
look perfect
be mad
anymore.
about something else.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I always tell people too, some people send me emails and say, "Oh, I don't know what to do. My grass isn't growing well." I say, "Listen, like, grass has been growing on this planet, and it grows on a lot of the planet without any help from us. So if you're doing a reasonable job with keeping up with your mowing, that's probably the best thing you can do. Most important thing you can do for great looking turf. It's not as complicated as some people want to make it out to be." So we got here. Hang on, I got a couple. Probably our last question for the night. Jesus Parado says, "I live in Texas and I want a soccer field in my backyard. Can I place perennial ryegrass seed at temperatures around 65 to 70 degrees?"
Yep.
That should work for good germination. Yeah, that should work well, Jesus, for germination. But cool, man. Guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Devin, thank you for taking time out of your Friday evening.
Yeah, anytime. We'll have to do this again. Maybe another one this winter, and then when things start waking back up in the spring.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely down. I'm down if you are. It was tons of fun. Everyone is. I think everyone enjoyed it, and it was good,
very
clean
cool.
fun. So yeah, we'll keep it going. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching. Again, be sure to give a like if you've not subscribed to the channel. Consider doing so. When you see Devin in the live stream, be sure to thank him, and we will see you guys next time. Have an amazing week. To all the winners, make sure you email me your addresses, and I will get them out to you.